Mr. Drew here to welcome you to another episode of the Andrew Glowczewski Experience. This is going to be episode 139. I'm just going to be working on some studies for this one. As you may know, I've been working on concept art for this story that I've been writing, and I've been working on this character, and I still have that one spot available to fill up this character's page. Same thing with this character here, this character there. These are just some side piece things that I do. But you may be aware that I've been working on all this concept art for something that I'm working on. And since I'm getting close to like moving on to the next thing, all of this is based on the map that I put together. So going back to this map, here, let me stop shaking this camera. So here, let me do this. Let me play this. Let me lower the volume. Okay. So anybody who's been keeping up with me knows that I've been working on let's focus. There we go. Working on this map and working my way up it as far as doing the concept art with environments, props, characters, things like that. And yeah, let me pull up also my map that I'm kind of basing all of this off of. So you can see here's a world map, and this map here is just like of this portion of the map. I've already done this land, and now I'm working on this land, and I have yet to get to any of this stuff just yet. But with that, are we still not focused? Let's focus. Oh well, it's my phone anyways, so who cares? You're not gonna get a clean shot. So I drew a bunch of thumbnails, sketches of environments, and then I threw characters that are associated with those environments sketches here. So that way I kind of created a loose map, and now creating these maps, I've I'm just making these maps just a better version of this, essentially. It's like, all right, I have this, but this isn't really good to like show people. Something like this is a little bit better to show, like, hey, here's a map of the world, whatever. And now I'm going in and doing concept art. This being an interior piece, another interior piece, and here is like an exterior piece. All of those little environment concepts of stuff that's going on in here. And again, this is all concept art just for myself. I'm the creator, director, I'm the lead artist, I'm everything. So this is just me working for myself. So I don't have to do as much work because I know everything that's there, but there are things that I do want to capture. Hence, oh man, let me straighten out this camera, sorry. The camera's so close that I keep bumping it. That's why I'm working on these characters here, so that way you can see, like, well, one, you get to see me just create something out of nothing, and then do, like, pieces, like these little character portraits here, this little environment piece here. I still haven't gotten to these environments yet. And it's not because I don't want to, I just haven't had any ideas as far as the pieces that I want to put here. I don't have any ideas yet. Like, I kind of have an idea, but as to how to go and execute it, I don't have any ideas just yet. None that are like really stellar, that are really going to be what I want it to be, you know what I mean? So this one came to me a little bit easier than these other two are. So I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to move on. So I moved on with this character, and I'm cool with him because I've already done his environment. And most recently been working on this character and got his environment here. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's all coming together. But I was getting ready to move on. And so I'm working from the lower left to the upper right. And, oh, and yeah, so I've already started working on this character in these environments here. I've already done this. I've already done this. I've already done like these lower portions here. And now I got to move up. I've already done this. So I had my choice of like next to work on is either like up here or down over here or start here. And because this guy's a little bit lower on the map, I said, you know what, let me go here before I go over here. So I wanted to work on this character. Now, the thing that's going on with that character, oh, and I didn't do that yet. I've been meaning, I put together character references of all the sketches that I made in the past, and they're in PDF format, and they're really large PDFs. So I've been wanting to make JPEGs out of them, so that way I could take a JPEG at a time. So anytime I work on a character, I have all the references that I need there for them. And so what's happening is I want to work on this character here, and you're not going to be able to really see this character even if I blow it up. But I've been wanting to work on this character. You can see it's repeated in all of this environment, so he kind of rules this whole coast, so to speak, as far as like how my story goes and everything. Now the thing with that character is it's a very big transformative character. He has like a lot that goes in. And it was just like, okay, well, that's going to be like a later stage. So when I work on this character, how do I work on him? Do I just like work on the one single stage? Or do I just create the character from beginning to end? That way I could at least design around, step 1 to step 2 to step 3, step 4, 5, 6, whatever, however many there are. And I decided, I was like, you know what, even though I'm not, as far as like working on this environment goes, I'm not, or this part of the map, I'm not ready to just work on like his step 2 or step 3. It's like I need to start from the beginning. So for this individual character, because he has so much going on, I was like, let me go back and let me start with him at step 1, which kind of put me towards, well, if I'm going to work on him from step 1, I got to do a whole lot of studies. So I've been doing, yesterday I started these study sketches, and I didn't stream it just because I've had a lot going on. So I said, let me just sit down and draw a bunch of these, just a bunch of pencil sketches to get me going with this character. And these are all just study pieces, and they're not, I don't think that they're going to be representing the last bit, because I kind of want to push it a little bit more when I actually work on the character concept art. But in order to push the concept, I got to understand the concept first. And yeah, that's what the fighter pilot studies are for right now. So I'm going to be on this episode just doing more of these. As you can see, I kind of just peppered them through, and it's like half full, half blank at the moment. So maybe I'll just finish filling in the rest of these blank sketches. I've just been looking up pictures and just drawing them and trying to understand it. That way when I move on to this next page, it's blank. I could actually do like the character concepts that I want to start to establish with this character, going from everywhere from this character's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and so on and so forth. But, it's hard to jump to 3 without knowing what 1 was. So that's all this is. I'm just doing some background studies, and, it's not what I typically stream, but maybe somebody will get something out of it. And really, I'm just pulling up images and drawing them just so I could understand. And, clearly it's like, they're like fighter pilots and Air Force uniforms and things like that. And just trying to understand all the mechanics behind it. Um, you know, I'm not one to like really read books and all that stuff. I'll just like, I study imagery, and then I take what I can from the images and just allow my imagination to kind of fill in the blank of like all these things. So when I go back to actually start working on the concepts, it's like, okay, I kind of have a general understanding of what it is that I need this character to have in order to be this type of character. And then now I can just throw my imagination at it at full force and, let that be. And this character will make a little bit more sense than if I just try to tackle it without any understanding or without doing any of this study, because I don't know anything about Air Force stuff, but I have Air Force pilots in my story. So it's like, okay, let me try it. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But just off of what I've done yesterday, all these few sketches, I was able to kind of come up with a few things, and I learned some stuff, which is super interesting. Um, and it was questions I always had, fashion wise. The thing about military application is it's kind of like top of the line stuff. Anytime anybody invents anything, the government is going to only be interested in it for military purposes. How can we add this to our military? So I don't know if you've ever held anything tactical or military, but there's a weight to it, and there's a design element to it that's just, it's not something that you'll find at Walmart necessarily, in plastic and all this other stuff. There's like actual, like I don't even know the word to it, but it's more or less like a finer product, but it has to be mass produced, so it's not necessarily the finest. The finest being something that's actually tailored and suited. Just think about the difference between what would you say, like Tony Stark's Mach 1 suit, or any of his suits. Pick a suit. Tony Stark Iron Man suit to like Ironmonger, Whiplash, like the bad guys from his first two movies, and you look at what they produced and the difference between what they produced as to what Tony Stark made for himself. Tony Stark made a tailored suit that's tailored for him. That suit probably wouldn't operate with anybody else. In order for War Machine to happen, he had to tailor that suit to what's his name? uh, why am I blanking on War Machine's name right now? Either way, he had to tailor it to the War Machine character. I keep wanting to say like Don Cheadle, but you know what I'm trying to say, or Terrence Howard. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, he tailors those suits, so those suits are nice. That would be the only thing that I would say takes the military application and takes it a step above, is tailoring. So, but the military application is usually like top of the line type of things. And by studying all this stuff and just drawing it, just by simply drawing it, it's like, oh, okay, I could see why they label things. I could see all the parts and the pieces. I could see where, how all these little pieces come together and create one big important piece. And it makes sense that they would need this and that. And then it just helps me when it comes to conceptualizing, because it's like, okay, I need to hit all these beats in order for this to be a thing, to exist in my fantasy world. And but obviously I'm going to lift and pull and design according to however I feel is going to be necessary for the look and aesthetic that I want to go for my own stuff. But yeah, so it's been fun, and it's a learning experience, and I love it. So all this military garb, it's really helping me understand the fashion behind it, as far as like the layering of clothing and the layering of the order in which these fighter pilots dress themselves in order to do the job. All the pieces that are a part of it, that put together, and once they're together, it's like, oh, you got a fighter pilot. You just Mr. Potato Head a fighter pilot together. That's what it's all about. I know nothing about most of the things that I'm working on. They're just cool ideas that I have, and it's like, okay, well, let me draw them. It's like, oh shit, I got to draw a fighter pilot. What the hell is that? it's, you know. So, so that's all I'm gonna be doing on this episode. Hey, what's up, Nardachi? Yeah, yeah. Studies are they're a ton of work. But yeah, man, I've been I've been contemplating how I want to tackle this next character. So instead of just jumping to like his third form or whatever, I was like, you know what? Let me start from the very beginning, get him from his roots. That way, I can kind of show the evolution of him from A to B, or A to Z. But yeah, it's fun because it's like, all right, fighter pilots are cool, planes are cool, dogfights in the air are cool and things like that, and they kind of exist in the story that I'm working on. So it's like, it's interesting to draw this stuff, getting all the little tiny gadgets and being like, oh, what is this and what is that and what are they doing here with these things, and oh, that this is their seatbelt. It's all heavy duty. You know what I mean? But it kind of makes sense when you're like dealing with G forces and things like that. And oh, they have the tube for breathing, which we kind of always knew. But then they have this wire going around. It's like, oh, what is that for? Probably has something to do with the mouth. And it's like, oh yeah, well they still need to speak and communicate. It might be the wire to speak and communicate. So yeah, when I was just drawing all these things, it became like, oh, just learning it on my own because I'm not gonna read a book. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not that guy who's gonna go and read a book and be like, oh, how do they piece it together? And I try to find these answers, but when I can't find them in like 5 minutes, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna start drawing. So yeah, that's all I'm doing is gonna be working on more just drawings and pencil sketches and just getting a better understanding. Um, So it's going to be dealing with me finding and searching for images. And then in the meantime, I'm just going to be I got a Teching 101 talking about the latest chapter One Piece. And what's this video about? Talking about Beyond Act 3, Wano's Final Twist. So yeah, just gonna do the normal thing. I do want to come on here and talk more, so that way I'm not just like silent and drawing. But really, it's so hard to talk and draw at the same time and keep ideas. That's why, you know, I don't even know how long I've been streaming yet, but I've probably been talking for a good 10, 15 minutes. Damn, I got low battery. What's going on here? Pull up the chat. Yeah, look at that. 18 minutes of me just talking about this. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump in and start drawing, and it is what it is, man. All right, chilling while waiting for something. Well, cool, man. Chill away. Let me start drawing.
That's right! Squirrels from outer space have taken over my backyard! Exasperated tumble! Ugh, so exasperated, I must forage for radioactive acorns to provide them with sustenance so they'll return to their mothership and go back to the oak tree planet from whence they came.
Yeah, cool, man.
And end scene. Okay, I think that works. For this week, I guess we'll do a 5 little mini episode segment in the intros relating to alien squirrels. Will I be able to save the planet from their gnawing squirrel powers? I don't know. I'll have to work it out as I go. Okay. Hey everybody, how you doing? Teching and Barry here again. Today's video is going to be about, actually a few things. We're going to talk about a few things today. So, chapter 1013 spoilers right out of the gate here. It was a very impactful chapter. The end of it certainly hit really hard, with Kaido just like home running Luffy off the side of Onigashima. I heard a lot of people saying that like I would have loved for Luffy because he's been doing this up until this point. When Kid and Killer and everybody were up there, Luffy just kind of kept charging at Kaido and kept getting knocked back over and over and over again. Enough that while all that's going on, Law and Zoro and Kid and everybody are trying to figure out a plan, while Luffy just keeps getting bounced back and forth because he has no patience and he just wants to get, okay, this time I'll bring you down. Oh, okay, well now this time. So I feel like Luffy probably did the exact same thing, except no one else is around. So he's like, okay, bring it on, Kaido. I got Conqueror's Haki now. We got this. And then Kaido's like, oh, you think you can take me down? Well, bring it on, kid. I'll give you my full power back. And then Luffy just like, yeah, and he charges right at him, and Kaido's just like, bam! And it's Kaido, and he really did go full power, so he really did knock Luffy over the side of Onigashima, to the point where Kaido himself is kind of lamenting, like, dang it, I got too carried away. I should have held back. Yeah, now what am I going to do, right? So, that happened, and I'm sitting there reading the manga, and I'm thinking, wow, Act 3 is still going, huh? Like, if there was going to be a moment for Act 3 to end, I feel like there's plenty of them we've passed by already. Like the scene where he lifted up the entire island, that would have been cool. Around chapter 1000, I thought a lot of people thought that's where Act 3 was going to end, but no. Act 3 just keeps on chugging along, keeps on going. In fact, here's a fun little factoid. So I think most people know that Wano is, as of right now, the longest arc in One Piece. Dressrosa was previously the holder of that record. Wano has already passed that up. Wano started in chapter 909, and now we're at 1013, so it's been like, I think Dressrosa was 102, so we're like 106 or whatever. I don't know math, but it's like somewhere around that for Wano right now. However, not just the entirety of Wano, but Act 3 by itself, with the conclusion of chapter 1013, Act 3 started at 958. We had a little bit in the present, and then we immediately cut over to Odin's flashback, and then we got back from Odin's flashback to the battle at Onigashima. 55 chapters since chapter 958. 55 chapters, which is longer than these individual arcs from One Piece.
Damn.
Yep, that's a lot of arcs. Also, fun fact, Enies Lobby was 56 chapters. So next chapter of One Piece will be equal number, Act 3 and Enies Lobby, same length. So, yeah, that was a lot of arcs, okay? Just Act 3, that's just Act 3 by itself. So I started to think, like, okay, how exactly is this going to go? So I went back and looked at some Kabuki act structure. I've done this at the beginning of Wano because as soon as Oda revealed that he was doing that, like, Act 1 conclusion, Act 2 conclusion, I'm like, all right, makes sense. Wano is based off of the Edo period in Japan mainly, during the Tokugawa shogunate, and that's the time period where Kabuki and ukiyo-e paintings really flourished in Japan during the Edo period. And so I'm like, okay, you're going Kabuki with this, and so what's about Kabuki? Because I didn't know really a lot about it. I've never seen a Kabuki play myself, although that would be pretty cool. The closest I really had was the scene in Pokemon Gold where you go into the Kabuki Theater in Eputique City and you fight the ladies and you get the different evolutions. So that was the closest I had, so I had to do a little bit of research. So initially, it seems like the 5 acts of Kabuki, Joe, Ha, and Q are the main thing. Like that's usually how it goes, where the first act is Joe, and it's a very kind of slow start, just kind of easing you into the play. And then there's Ha, which you might know that from the break that we had in between Act 1 and Act 2. That's kind of the origin of all the Ha faces, so Ha. And now Ha denotes the second, third, and fourth acts of the Kabuki play, where things begin to speed up. In fact, it speeds up with each act, so second act, and the third act is faster than the second act, and the fourth is faster than the third. And then finally, Q, which is the fifth act, which is a very speedy resolution, okay? I have read that 3-act Kabuki plays do exist, okay? It's just they're not as common, I guess. And since we're going with the Edo period, that's the basis, I would imagine that Oda might do a more traditional aspect of this. And from what I understand, and I could be completely wrong on this, but from what my understanding is, from what I've read, the 5-act Kabuki play is the traditional type of play that started in the Edo period. So I'm assuming that's what he's doing. Because a lot of people are thinking, like, man, Act 3 has gone on for so long at this point. Is there even going to be any other acts? Is this just going to be it, And I feel like there is. I feel like there's definitely going to be. I have a feeling because just the way that the acts are structured in One Piece, not the acts, the arcs, the way that Oda structures the arcs. It's the big epic battle with all of the different, enemies and all that stuff. In this case, it's the Beast Pirates. But there's always the cool down. There's always the moment after the Straw Hats reign victorious, and they either stay on the same island or they go back to another island and they rest and they recuperate and they have an awesome feast. And especially considering this is Wano, this has been amped up for so long in the story, and it's the longest arc in One Piece so far. Of course, there's going to be a moment like that, right? There's going to be a moment where the Straw Hats are all going to be victorious and having an epic, celebratory dinner. Momoa's going to be the new shogun. At least we assume that's going to go down, right? So with that being said, I feel like that would definitely fit in like Act 5. If Act 5 is only like 1 or 2 chapters, that could make sense. Maybe a little bit longer than that. Like there's like maybe 1 or 2 chapters for like, the cool down and for the Straw Hats to recuperate, and then the feast, and then there's the chapter where they actually physically sail away from Wano. That could be accomplished pretty damn quickly, especially considering like I think Act 1 of Wano was only like 15 chapters or something like that. I might have some of the numbers wrong, but Act 5 would definitely be the shortest out of all of them. Okay, so here's an idea, and this is what I'm thinking now. If we are going along with this 5-act structure, with the Joha and Q, what if the entire Battle of Onigashima, the whole thing, from start to finish, is Act 3? All right, that includes Big Mom being defeated eventually, Kaido being defeated eventually, all of the Straw Hats fight with the Tobi Roppo, each individually playing out, all of them. All right, so the battle's essentially over that we know of. King, Queen, Jack, they're all taken care of as well. And then right when you think the celebration is going to begin, right when you think that the scabbards and the samurai and the Straw Hats have all reigned victorious, Act 3 ends. And Act 4 begins. And it's like, well, like the latter half of Marineford, basically, where you think things are, well, you don't think things are doing good, but you're like, they can't get much worse, can they? Oh, yeah, they can. So Act 4 kicks off with everybody celebrating right after the battle's over. Like, we're not at the celebratory feast yet. It's like right after the battle. It's like right after Kaido is like falling into the ocean or whatever, however they're going to defeat Kaido. It's like, we did it! Act 3. And then Act 4. Whoop! We did it! And then Blackbeard just boom! Just bombards Wano. Or the Marines show up and they bombard Wano. Or something else crazy happens where you didn't see it coming from a mile away. You thought that it was all going to be about Big Mom and Kaido, but no, it's going to be something even insane. Maybe Green Bull finally arrives. Maybe Vegapunk is finally revealed. Something like that for Act 4. And then Act 5 is the speedy resolution there. The only problem with that is that if something really crazy like that did happen, I don't think it would be a situation where the Straw Hats would be able to hang out and have a feast in Wano afterwards. Like, if the Marines really do attack Wano, and they wait until Kaido and Big Mom are defeated first, which is an idea, because, it's like, oh, okay, these are two Yonko. If they work together, they could take over the world. But this also poses a very interesting hypothesis where if they were to both be defeated, then that would throw the Yonko out of balance, and it might be the Marines or the world government that might be able to take over as the supreme power, okay? And so the Marines might very well be waiting in the wings. Yes, the Marines are going out to take care of the warlords as well, but you also have the SSG. You also have that Special Science Division and stuff, and Vegapunk's involved in all that. You don't know. And also, I made a video about this last year about how the end of the Edo period, which is, of course, what one was based off of, is the arrival of the black ships from the United States in history in the 1850s. The black ships showed up with Perry, Commodore Perry. He showed up and then forcibly opened the country of Japan to the entire world, okay? So that could very well happen with the Marines. The Marines might very well show up and then be like, oh, cool, Kaido's defeated, Big Mom's defeated, we're just going to storm into Wano, because Wano, of course, has a lot of resources that the world government and the Marines would definitely want. Just the cachet of Sea Prison alone would be worth it. It was also referred to as the country of gold back in the day, so there's probably resources of that kind as well, like gold mines and stuff. Maybe if there were like gold mines and things, maybe the people of Wano might not have been able to mine it, but with the advanced technology of Vegapunk, they might be able to. So, yeah, I think the world government would definitely be interested in that. So if it's like Act 4, the Marines show up and be like, all right, we're taking over Wano now. The Straw Hats probably wouldn't have a lot of a chance to like hang out in the palace and have an epic feast. They'd probably just have to get out of Dodge as quickly as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a problem with that. You could still make it work somehow, though. You could make it work that like, oh, okay, the Marines are attacking, the Straw Hats barely get out of Onigashima alive, and maybe they get taken to an underground location somewhere in Wano, like the Mogura port or something. That would actually make a lot of sense. They go to the Mogura port where they rest and recuperate, and then they sail away from Wano in that underground tunnel, so they don't have to worry about the Marines finding them. That's how actually the Straw Hats escape, by sailing out of the Mogura port. So you could still do that, but it would be kind of a different sort of ending to a lot of other arcs of One Piece, where the Straw Hats are like, okay, they've won the battle, now here is their reward. They get to relax, they get to eat, and then they get to just sail off while bidding goodbye and well wishes to all the people that helped them. In this case, it would be Momo, Kiori, all the scabbards, everything like that, right? So, yeah, or Blackbeard attacking too. But that also, if Blackbeard attacked, I don't think Blackbeard, well, he could attack Wano, take the devil fruits of Kaido and Big Mom, and then leave. That would be a thing. And I know you might be saying, well, isn't that just basically a rehash of what already happened at Marineford? I mean, like, rehash, call it whatever you want, that logically makes sense from Blackbeard's perspective. Blackbeard's whole thing is gathering really strong devil fruit powers. That's literally the reason he attacked and went through this massive scheme to get Whitebeards at Marineford. That was the whole point, right? So, he's not like sitting there at Hachinosu Island, Blackbeard is, and being like, Zeha! Should I go to Wano afterwards and retrieve the Soul Fruit and the Ua Ua no Mi Model Dragon at the same time? And then Suryu walks up to him, not Suryu, Shiryu. Suryu is somebody from One Punch Man. Shiryu is the guard guy with the invisibility fruit. So yeah, Shiryu's there and he's like, I don't know, Blackbeard. That just seems like you're just redoing the same thing you did at Marineford. Have a little bit of originality. No! That would be something Blackbeard would definitely have his eye on, right? Especially since he already has some sort of spy network in Wano. Like, he's aware of what's going on in Wano from what it seems. So, he's like, okay, Straw Hat Luffy and his little merry band and the Kid Pirates and the Heart Pirates and all these other really strong warriors are all gathering together at Wano, and they're fighting against Big Mom and Kaido. Now, Blackbeard might be looking at it like, well, okay, Kaido and Big Mom are probably going to win this because they're seasoned veterans and they're Yonko and everything, and they're really strong. However, Blackbeard is also an opportunist, so he's going to be like, tell you what, let's just keep an eye on it here. Let's just see where it goes. Because, I'll tell you what, if Big Mom and Kaido defeat them, it'll probably just be an absolute, like, curb stomp, right? Like, Kaido and Big Mom just wipe them out if that's really how it was going to go. Not a big deal. But if Luffy and his alliance end up succeeding, even if they did win, they defeated Kaido and Big Mom, they would probably be wiped. They would probably be done at the end of the battle. It would be a really, really uphill battle for them, right? So Blackbeard's like, let's see what happens. If Kaido and Big Mom lose, then we can sweep in really quick, or swoop in really quick. We will sweep in really quick with our brooms. That's how Blackbeard steals Devil Fruit powers. With enchanted brooms, he swoops in, and then they take, okay, we're just going to take this dragon fruit. Oh, and this soul fruit. All right, see everybody. And then they leave. And then you could still have the moment where it's like, oh, no, that's not good. But you could also have a moment where they can at least, okay, well, Blackbeard kind of pulled one over on us again. But at least, Wano is saved for right now. I mean, this is going to be a problem later down the line. We're going to have to deal with the Blackbeard pirates now having the powers of, Blackbeard has the Yami Yami no Mi and the Gura Gura, and he gets his hand on the Soul and the Dragon Fruit. That's the power of all four Yonkos combined into one crew. We're going to have to deal with that at some point, but for right now, let's go back to the palace. Momo's the new Shogun, yay, celebration, everything, and then we can sail off. That would also make some sense because how is Kaido going to be defeated? I mean, that's the number one question I think a lot of people are asking. I made a bunch of videos, sorry, Barry. I made a bunch of videos about that before, like, maybe Momo's fruit and Kaido's fruit are, like, connected through, like, some, like, because of Vegapunk's experiments and everything like that, and through, like, devil fruit magic. So maybe that's one way, like, Momo could absorb the powers of the dragon fruit. Because, death really doesn't happen that often in One Piece. I don't even think Zeus is dead from the last chapter or anything like that. So if death is a very rare thing in One Piece, and Luffy isn't going to just straight up, like, decapitate Kaido with a mighty King Kong gun, that's not going to happen. How are you going going to get rid of Kaido, so not
Kinga
only does he
King
lose the battle, but he doesn't
Kingan.
come back to Wano. Like, simply kicking him out of the country isn't going to be enough. You know, he could always come back. Kind of the same thing with Eneru. I mean, Eneru, if he really wanted to, could have just sailed right back to Skypiea with his Maxim, and he could have become the god all over again after the Straw Hats left. Like, there was nothing preventing him from doing that. It's just that Eneru's goal was not to go back and rule over Skypiea, it was to go to Fairy Birth, right? But yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we defeated Kaido. I knocked him into the ocean. He's miles away by now. All right, Momo, Yori, Scabbards, you have a good time, you know, leading your country. We're out of here. 5 days later, Kaido shows back up again. He's like, I'm back. I don't know why you thought I would just leave, but I'm back. Right? It's like, that's not good at all. But if Blackbeard shows up and Kaido is defeated and wrecked and also has his fruit taken from him, I mean, he would still be a threat if he was left alive, but, you know, his threat level has definitely dropped without having the dragon powers anymore, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's something you have to keep in mind. And, you know, that's, the name of this saga is versus the Four Emperors, or versus the Yonko. Like, that's the name of this saga that kind of encapsulates Wano, Tauntland, and I think it started at Zoe. The Straw Hats, you know, going into the New World and facing off against, you know, Big Mom and Kaido on their home turf and everything like that. But what if the way Oda spins it is like, oh no, it's fighting against the Yonko individually, but by the end of this arc, by the end of Wano, it's Blackbeard that has the power of four emperors all at once. You know, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, Kaido, and Big Mom all together in one crew. And that will be like the greatest threat the Straw Hats have ever faced off against. That'll be like their final hurdle to face off against, like against like the Blackbeard pirates at like Laughtail or whatever. Like that'll be it. That'll be the moment, okay? And you might be thinking like, wow, that's a lot though for Blackbeard to have all of those powers at once. I mean, that's kind of overkill, right? I'll be honest with you, like when the Straw Hats first started going up against the Yonko, when it's like, oh yeah, no, the Straw Hats are going to go up against Big Mom now. Now the Straw Hats are going up against Kaido. I was thinking like, oh, is it a little bit too soon for that, or are the Straw Hats ready? Well, we got the answer to that last time, at least like Luffy fighting Kaido one-on-one. We got the answer to that if Luffy was ready for that. But yeah, I mean, like, I think, you know, this story is going to start amping up in insane ways. Like, it's going to be ridiculous after Wano. Like, I still want to include Elbaf and everything in there as well. And we could have a few arcs in between. You know, it's kind of like, all right, Blackbeard stole all these devil fruits, but he's not going to immediately try to take over the world. He's going to go back to Hachinosu and figure everything out and have this master plan. But then after he figures everything out,
Thinking
then
of a
he's going to
master
maybe try
plan.
to attack Marijois or something, and you know, then eventually try to get the One Piece along the way or something like that. You know, that might be another angle to take it too. Is Blackbeard even really interested in the One Piece? You want to say he is. Blackbeard is always the kind of character that's like, you know, the age of the dreamers will never end. The age where pirates dream will never go away. That'll always be the case, right? You know, about Sky Island and the One Piece itself and whatever. But you really get the impression that Blackbeard's kind of ultimate goal is just to make, kind of like what Kaido wanted, a pirate paradise all over the world, right? I'm sure maybe obtaining the One Piece is probably on his bucket list somewhere. But I think overall, I think he really wants to set his sights on Marijois. I feel like Blackbeard wants to gather as much power as he can, and then when he feels like he has enough, he's just going to attack Marijois and just like burn the whole city down, right? And that'll be a thing because it'll be like, oh, the revolutionaries were going to do that, and they had their whole plan, but then Blackbeard got involved and just messed the whole thing up. It's essentially like Blackbeard messes up everybody's plan, marine, pirate, revolutionary, or otherwise, doesn't matter, right? And then so eventually Blackbeard might set his sights on Laughtail and find the One Piece, and that'll be where the Straw Hats face off against them or whatever, probably with a lot of help with like the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and then everybody that's helped them out up until this point. It might literally be down to a situation where it's like, and I'm not exaggerating here, like everybody against the Blackbeard Pirates. And what do I mean by everybody versus the Blackbeard Pirates? I mean the Straw Hats, of course, the Grand Fleet, of course, revolutionaries, the Marines, and maybe even like, let's say Kaido and Big Mom don't die, they just have their fruits taken from them and they're beaten down really hard. What if
I
Kaido
feel like
and
they
Big
have
Mom
to die
also
if they're
show
gonna get
up?
their
What if
fruits taken
Doflamingo
from
breaks
them.
out of jail? And it's like a thing in the Tenryubito, in the world government, in the CPs. They're all like CP0 with Rob Lucci and everybody. There's like literally Blackbeard has screwed over every single other faction that exists in this world. They're going down, right? Okay? And then you could have this monumentous battle where it's not just the Straw Hats, but it's everybody up against the 10 Titanic captains of Blackbeard's crew, plus all these other people that he probably gathered along the way. You know, like Blackbeard himself. Let's say Blackbeard can only have 2 devil fruits. He might be able to have like 3 or more, but let's say he has the Yami Yami and the Gura Gura. Shiryu's got the freaking invisibility fruit. Katarina Devon's got a mythical zone. I don't know. Avala Pizarro gets the dragon fruit or whatever. Who gets the soul fruit? I don't know. I guess San Juan already has a fruit, so he can't. Vasco shot. That doesn't make any sense, but let's just roll with it. You understand where I'm coming from here, though? Like, really, like, everybody realizes at once Blackbeard is the main threat, and they all go after him, okay? And then Shanks is in the background, like, I told you! This whole time I've been telling you! No one
I've been
listens
about
to me,
that shit.
So poor Shanks, right? But yeah, that was a scattershotted one. That was a video that went. I didn't really know where this was going to end up, so I just took it on whatever track it ended up on. It was pretty much just me talking about like how long's Act 3 gonna go on, and we ended with this massive battle with Blackbeard facing off against the entire world. Oh well, that seems to make sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Comment down below. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for supporting the channel and all that good stuff. This will be Teching and Barry signing out. Later, everyone.
Alright. Now what do I have? What happens if you kill the big wolf guy in the beginning of Resident Evil?
We take out Urias that spawns after we survive for a while during one of our first big lichen ambushes. Before I get into all this though, if you find this kind of content enjoyable, consider taking a little bit of your time or leaving a like on the video. As always though, that is totally up to you if you want to do so or not. Just leaving a friendly reminder here in the beginning. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into all this now. First off, to make the fight easier against Urias, you can't just wait until you beat the game, and then once you beat the game, you'll be able to load your save completed game file, and when you do load that up, you'll spawn in with the weapons that you actually beat the game with. I will say, it makes the fight super easy. Although it is possible to do it even without beating the game. It's just going to be way more difficult, depending of course the difficulty you're also playing on as well. So yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, for an example here, just to test the waters to see what even happens, I'm just going to load up the file that I've already completed the game on, just so I start off with some powerful weapons, and I'm going to turn on infinite ammo too, which that's something that you can purchase within the extra content shop. Anyways, yeah, let's go and get into this battle now. Alright, so I'm going to be starting this around the first ambush area in the game. As some of you may know, the body gets dragged into this, and then, yeah, the ambush happens with the lichen. This is right after we meet the villager with the shotgun that gives us our first gun. But anyways, at this part, eventually this big guy is going to be coming through these trees right here if we can survive long enough with this attack that's about to be taking place here next. So yeah, in order to trigger this ambush, all you have to do is just alarm one of the lichens that are around. For one example, you can head over this way that I'm currently taking, and you'll notice that there will be some lichens on the rooftops here. And you will notice that this will also pop up on the screen as well that states survive the attack. Now, depending on, of course, the difficulty that you're playing on, you may want to alarm them differently. Like I'm out in the open right now. I know if you're like on hardcore or something, being out in the open like this probably wouldn't be as useful as a tactic. And once we get them alarmed, now we're just going to have to survive long enough until the big guy comes. So yeah, the goal is just to literally survive. And eventually this cutscene will pop up. As you see, you get ambushed from the lichen, and then Urias jumps from the rooftop down to you. And then they get distracted by something else and run off. So yeah, this is how we always survive the attack technically. But we can survive long enough for the big guy to come through eventually, aka Urias, and we'll be able to eventually take him on. And that's all I'll be showing y'all in this video, what all actually happens after we take him out. Before this cutscene of him jumping from the roof happens. Because technically we don't have to take him out, we just have to survive. It's going to be interesting seeing what happens if we do take him out fast enough. Because I believe the cutscene of him jumping from the roof is on like a timer or something. The reason why I think that is because it pops up a little while after he gets into the village and you are able to attack him. Feels like you're on a timer trying to take him out. But anyways, I feel like that's enough explaining about this battle. Let's just go ahead and see what happens now when we do take him out after surviving long enough. So yeah, I already explained how I have infinite ammo. It is something that you can unlock. And, well, might as well put it to use because it's there to use and it makes this a bit easier. But if you're looking to challenge yourself on this part, then, of course, I don't suggest using the infinite ammo. It should still be possible without it. It's just going to be more difficult, of course. And there's an insane amount of stuff that can drop from this weapon. Okay, so he just said there's no end to them. I'm just going to go ahead and pull out this weapon. Speed up the process here. Alright, I'm going to go around the area where the guy can spawn in. Just right down here. So eventually, he'll be coming from that way. Oh gosh! My health is not looking so hot. Oh yeah, here he comes. Big guy time. Alright, so I'm going to back up here a little bit because he just hits these trees with his hammer to get in here, but he also clears the way for us as well at the same time. So, yeah. As you can see though, we can face off against Urias here in the very beginning. And, well, luckily, since I've already beat the game, I can start off with these powerful weapons here in the beginning to make life way easier against this guy. I will say, this guy is extremely tanky if you're only using like the starting typical weaponry against him. But, yeah, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get out the handy-dandy Wolf's Bane here.
Oh, yeah.
And just shoot him a couple times. This thing is extremely powerful. Boom! 3 shots with this, and he's down for the count and casual. And as you can see, we unlock a secret achievement called Timber. Only a little over 2% of players that have played this game on Xbox, that is, have currently got this achievement. Of course, you know, this percentage is going to increase the more players end up knowing about this. But hey, right now, it's still pretty rare. This is something pretty awesome the developers decided to add in. As you can see, the achievement states, defeat Urias during the first Lycan attack when you enter the village. And yeah, we did it. Also, not to mention, he drops 35k for us here in the very beginning as well. That's a hefty starting amount. It's definitely worth the time to take him out. Although, like I mentioned before, it can be extremely challenging if you're using the starting weaponry against him. Also, of course, it depends on what difficulty you're playing on, too. Like, if you're trying this on the hardest difficulty, oh my gosh, good luck. Seriously. It is insane here with the amount of Lycan and how fast they are and how fast they take you out. Whew! But seriously, good luck if you are trying this on a hard difficulty. I mean, it's supposed to be extremely challenging. So, yeah, it can be time consuming, I will say, if you do want to start off with this extra 35k that you can get for taking them down. Also, not to mention, it completes an in-game challenge too, called Timber, as you can see. So you get challenge points as well for doing this. So that's another reason why it's worth your time to do it. If you don't know what challenge points are, basically, this is how I unlock the infinite ammo or the starting handgun. You can purchase different things from the extra content shop with these challenge points that you can get. And oh yeah, something I was curious about, might as well show it in this video. As you see, I just took him out, and I'm just going to stand here right next to his body to show you that nothing changes, unfortunately, with the future cutscenes, even if you do take him out here in the very beginning. This scene will always stay the same, no matter what you do here. Here's some proof for you. So yeah, as you can see, even if you do take him out, even before this cutscene, nothing changes, unfortunately. That would be awesome if something did, but no. Nonetheless, this is still pretty neat that the developers even put this challenge in the game for us to try. And this is something worth our while to know about. But yeah, I guess that's wrapping up this video, everybody. Hopefully you found this enjoyable and it was something new to you and it helps out in some kind of way. As always, thanks for taking the time, watching and listening. Until next time, peace.
That's cool. Bill Burt Podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And it's time for another
episode of The Build. Montana. I'll just do the whole thing. Oh my God, I feel like an international reporter. Can I say where you're at?
Yeah, of course.
Bert Kreischer starring in his own movie shooting in Serbia.
Yeah.
An international star. And you got a lot of fans out that way. I know that. I mean, you're almost near all your buddies out there in Russia. You are a fucking Eastern European. I'd say damn near a pinup. You got the build, man. You got that I don't know, Slovakian fucking. You don't want those people to get their hands on you. They'll tear your limbs off.
This part of the world's been good to me. You want to hear something crazy though? Last week, right? My buddy texts me and he says, last week was when I met you at Fort. That's when you started at Fort State like 30 years ago. 30 years ago, last week, that week is when I first went to Fort State. 25 years ago that week, that exact same week is when I went to Russia for the first time. And then last week, at 48 years old, I started production of my movie. Whatever the fuck has happened during that 1 week of my life has been good shit. That one fucking week, yeah, I love that kind
This
of
is
shit.
the dumb response to that. Dude, this time next year we got to go to Vegas. You're gonna hit everything. I'm very happy for you and excited to see. I mean, it's about the time there's been. Is this an autobiographical?
Yeah, well, it's based on the truth. I don't even know how that. But
All right.
it's
Well, you
been
know something. You
problematic.
definitely have.
There's not a lot of things I can tell.
Sorry, you definitely have Eastern
It's
European
online.
fucking internet. Is it dial-up over there? Because there's been a lot of slowing down and speeding up during this, so we're just gonna have to deal with this, okay? This is what happens when you have the same shooting schedule as James Bond, okay? Bert Kreischer is going to a new level. Bert, when you get nominated, okay? We can talk about it, because this is like your lucky week. When you get nominated, okay, do you go shirtless? Now, is that a separate brand from your stand-up special? This is Bert. This is a new, more older, wiser, more clothed Bert Kreischer.
I go shirtless though.
That's a good
The
question.
red carpet.
Oh, hardcore.
I love it. Now you're gonna go Chippendales with like the bow tie. Or you saving the surprise?
I started wearing scarves, so probably just a scarf.
I love it. I love it.
Hey,
That's the way to
you know
go.
what I wanted to ask? You know what I wanted to ask you about? Because this is all brand new stuff to me, and it's
I could mail you
weird.
some weed.
No, yeah. But what were things you did? What were things you did where you were really nervous when you started, like it was when you first started stand up? Because I was terrified last week.
Oh yeah, no, everything. Everything has scared the shit out of me, from going on my first open mic to hosting SNL last year. That all
Actually,
scared the
I
shit
thought
out
about
of me.
I thought about you hosting SNL, and I thought risk versus reward. Like I don't know if I would. I don't know if the reward is high enough for me to enjoy it. And you murdered it, but just the nerves of that must have been absolutely terrifying.
No, I had a meltdown right before I went in, but then for the rest of the week, because I didn't want to put my wife through it, you know, for the whole week, so I just talk shit in my head. And there's a difference, like, there's talking shit, which is actually self-help, shouting down your demons, I believe. And then there's just being an arrogant ass. I wasn't going around going, I'm going to be the greatest host of all time. I wasn't saying that. People would say, hey man, good luck on SNL, you're going to kill it. And I would just say, I am. And it felt good to say it. I just kept saying it, and then it just kind of went away. And then I really minimized the stress as much as I could. I was just like, okay, today's Monday. When we're not going live today. Why don't I enjoy Monday? Today's Tuesday, not going live. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were out. Friday was pre-tapes. done movies, and if you screw it up, you get to do it again, which is the situation you're in. And then Saturday was just like, well, there's no reason to get nervous until 11:45 p.m. Other than that, the run through, have fun, act like an idiot, make all the crazy choices, see what works, see what doesn't, and then like, dude, and I gotta tell you something. When you go to tape the show, it goes by in like 2 seconds. But before you realize what the hell you just did, you're introducing the band for the second time, and they're telling you the last sketch got cut, and then you just like, I remember that, and then Pete goes, dude, you're done, you did it, and I was just like, oh my god, and then they're playing dun dun dun. He's like laughing, he's like, oh my god, I did. I want to thank everybody. He's like, I didn't blow it. I don't know how good it was, but I remember that I didn't mess up my jokes, and it's so what I do with a gig like that, the acting gig, like I never started something, but I had that big one a couple of years ago with Pete, opposite an Oscar winner. I had another meltdown. You just go like, what I don't think that the whole thing, if I'm on this thing for fucking 3 months, that's what I did when I first got there.
Yeah.
And I wanted to quit the business and just be a guy that drives a truck. That's what I wanted to do.
I said that before we started shooting, I thought I was saying the most negative shit in my head, but I was like, because I was nervous. I was like, what the fuck? Why am I doing this? I got podcasts, like stand up, like who the fuck? I write my own words. I say my own words on stage. Like you just.
I don't want to be this famous.
Yeah, right.
I just want to be little me. I want to be little me in my little part of entertainment. That's what always goes, this is too high, man. This is too high. You start freaking out. What if we have an engine failure? Yeah. I definitely, dude, I have to watch that because that is a form of self-sabotage. So it'll cause you, if you don't have control of that, you will steer the bus into a tree and take everybody sitting behind you with you. So you really got to make sure. So what I do in those situations is I go in there, and what I'm doing is for the other people. I just show up on time. I know my lines. I fucking kill it. I just try to make everybody laugh. I try to keep it light, not be a pain in the ass, and just show up ready to work. And once you do that for like 3-4 days in a row, and they realize, oh, he wasn't just in a good mood, this is how he's gonna be.
Yeah.
Everybody chills, and then they're having a good time. And then it's so out of your control, like you just gotta hope it comes together. And as far as that can do, I don't give a. If somebody gives me a fucking line read, this is how I know I'm not an actor. I love a line read. Like, is it trying to dance around it? No, it's more emotional. It's blah blah.
I love a line read.
Yeah, just say how you want me to say it. I'll do 3 different versions of that, and if that doesn't work, you got the other bullshit that I did that obviously didn't work, and you was still shooting this shit. I don't understand actors that get upset with the line read. It's like, don't you guys want to go home?
Yeah.
It's like the most fucked up communication. I'm going to tell you what I want, but I can't just tell you. So I got to go around and be like, okay, Bert, like, it's like, it's kind of like, say like the line is, let's get the fuck out of here. They got to use different words. Like, hey man, and you're like, hey man, hurry up. So then you gotta be like, hey, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. You're like trying to match what they said. It's just like, say the words that I'm saying the way you want me to say it. So I can fucking go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have fucking anxiety.
It's amazing.
Sorry, we're gonna overtalk each other with this beat. Sorry.
No, you talk. Go. You talk. Say what
I
you're gonna say.
noticed on my last 2 acting gigs, was the first time I wasn't nervous at all, in a good way. Where like, if you go down to the store, which by the way is open again, if you go down there, you got to do a 10-minute spot. You're not nervous. You've done it a million times, blah, 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 blah. I finally got to a point, the last 2 acting gigs, I just did one, and I did one last year before all this pandemic shit. proven that, I could do the job they wanted me to do, so I could relax and not think I was going to get fired after every take. And we just joked around, and they were busting my balls, I was busting their chops, and we just really just kind of had fun. And then all of a sudden, it was just, it's like, that's a wrap on Bill. And I was just like, I remember driving home being actually like sad, like, wow, man, I'm really sad that's over. I love working for those people. But also I'm psyched because now I can, sleep in tomorrow. But I was thinking like, hey, I didn't really get nervous. I didn't get nervous. I ad-libbed. I made the crew laugh. And that was like a big thing. Like, to me, that's like the actor version of like when I was a kid and I would watch a comedian do panel that was really good at it. I remember being like, I want to get good at that. And then when I would see actors and they would improvise and make the crew laugh on a take, I remember thinking like, I would love to do that. Because like the first, I don't know how many decade and a half of acting, every once in a while I would do it.
Okay.
And I would make them laugh.
I'm glad I drew this picture.
And I do it again and it wouldn't work.
Learning
And
stuff.
then I'd be like that buzzing on Bugs Bunny, like, oh no, not gonna do it, no, gonna get fired, no. And I just was really, because I am inherently a really shy, introverted person, so my acting gigs were so few and far between that whatever I learned, 90% of it went away and I had to start over again. Kind of like the way when I try to learn French. I do it hardcore for 3 months, then leave for fucking 4
Oh
months.
shit, it's
come
6
back,
o'clock?
I just never get to it.
I gotta make some coffee, man.
Anyway, why am I talking so much when you're...
No, because you're one of the few guys in our field with comics that have put himself out there and tried to do movies, and say the fear is, not that many. A lot of guys get into the lane of podcasting and stand-up, and then that's where they live. And myself being one of them.
Oh, you mean now? Okay.
And you've done things in this business. Now. And you've done things in this business which make you really uncomfortable, like SNL, hosting SNL, and I mean, you were one of the first guys I remember panning often, where it was like everyone's like, oh, I want to pan it now, And I've been thinking about you a lot. I'm dying to know what it was like.
Alright, let me go make some coffee real quick.
I think me and you were like jobbers, right? And you walk working like a Marissa Tomei or the women I'm working with right now, and they can really act, and they all of a sudden flip that switch, and they make you act. You're like, wait, what the fuck did you just do?
No, but that means you're a good actor, though, because you're listening to them and you're taking what they're giving you. Because that's all you got to do, dude. It's like jamming with people that are better musicians than you are.
Yeah.
Just don't get outside of what you do. Like I remember, I had a drum thing coming up, and I was gonna go see this bass player, Victor Wooten, who's one of the best bass players in the world. He's at this place, Crash Mansion or something, downtown LA. I don't even know if it even exists. But I just had this feeling he was gonna call me up on stage because he was that kind of guy. But he didn't give a shit. And one of my buddies gave me, I go, dude, he's gonna pull me up there, I'm gonna make an ass out of myself or something. He goes, dude, just go up there and do the Phil Rudd thing. Just lay down a beat and they'll be on top of it, it'll be fine, and you'll get away with it. And I went to the show, and he's just bringing one beast after another. Hey, this guy played on the Thriller album, come on up and play keys. And he does them first. And he goes, there's a comedian in the crowd. And dude, if I wasn't there with my wife, I wouldn't have gone up. My wife, she's like, you have to go up. And it was one of those moments in life, like I've had so many, my legs are moving as my brain is going, stop, turn around, run out the door. And I walked all the way up there. I just sort of grabbed the mic and I made some jokes or whatever, so people kind of understood that I was a comedian. I mean, this was in the 2000s. Like, nobody had any fucking idea what it was. And I just went up there and I did what my buddy told me to do, and it ended up going great. Bit of a train wreck because I didn't know how to. I had never done it. It was weird. Once again, introverted and shy. I played drums for 20 years by myself. like other than jamming with my brothers when I was a kid, I just played by myself, and that's what woke me up with like, oh, music you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do.
with other people.
Yeah. So, getting back to the acting thing, just go in and if you're working with great actors, you just give them what you got. They're gonna then give you what they have, and then you just react to it, and then that's it. And then also know that you don't have to be gigantic. Little things, little glances, little fucking things really become big things on people's flat screen TVs, and if we ever get movie theaters back, which I hope we do. That's about all I know about acting. So I just hit the fucking piece of tape and I say what they wrote. If they don't like it, I just go, just give me a line read.
Yeah, I have no problem with the line reading whatsoever. My problem with the marks is every time I walk up to my mark, and this is how I do it. Hey, what are you guys doing today?
What you gotta do is I always make the character's choice that this guy looks at his shoes a lot. So I just sort of saunter up walking like this, and then, but you kind of ease into. What you want to do is you want to catch a piece of tape when it's further away from you.
Yeah.
Okay? In helicopter, that's more of a low approach. You don't want to do a steep approach. You can't go walking up going like this. Especially the other my top of my ugly head. You don't want to be doing that. Dude, I do that shit. I do that shit all the fucking time.
So that's the number one
I
thing they
just
say to
make
me
a
is,
choice. And all
stop
I'm doing
looking
is
at the
trying to
tape.
find that. Yeah. They'll shoot around it enough times. The thing about it is if you give like a glance far enough away, I think they could shoot around it.
Yeah.
Because I've never actually seen in my stuff that, I don't watch my shit, so maybe they do. Watching all these assholes listen to this, they're gonna fucking, "Hey, he's clearly right there looking at the tape." It's one of those scenes that starts with you sitting and you never get up. They still think they busted you. Oh, by the way, I love sit-down acting.
Oh yeah.
If you're a nervous Nelly, sit-down acting's great because all the nervousness goes into the chair. One of the most difficult things when you first start acting is standing up acting. I remember I took an acting class, and the lady put my class onto my legs because they just kept moving, and then they were planted in the ground, which was making me angry that someone was putting their fucking hands on me. And I ended up having like restless leg syndrome. The class was laughing at me, and I was just trying to get the fucking line out, but I was just so. Well, back then, yeah, I was so like, I don't know. Someday I'll smoke a cigar, dude. I figured myself completely out. As far as like, I'm not saying I won't make any more mistakes, but like, I totally understand what 20 to 50 was now. What that was. that fucking shit show. You know, I know I got good at doing stand-up comedy, but my personal life, the shit I did, the people I hurt, the way I hurt myself, the fucking drinking and smoking and all the shit I did, I now know what that was all about. So,
I want to go back and audition for all the roles I didn't get. Now that I know that, like, there's a confidence once you can act. Well, not can act, but once you do something, and you go, well, shit. Now I want to audition. This makes total sense.
yeah, but the thing is you had to go through all of those things.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I had some brutal ones.
Oh, I have.
Dude, I had one time for Boardwalk Empire when it first came out, and I was thinking, oh my God, Martin Scorsese, blah, blah, blah. And they wanted me to do some accent from the 1920s, and like, I don't know, like, oh, let me tell you, okay? Like, what do you want me to, I had no idea. I didn't get a voice coach. And then I went in there, and the way it was written was the way people talked back then, and I just couldn't, like, and where I was, my head, I was so scatterbrained. I was moving a lot when I was doing stand-up, I was sweating on stage. Dude, I was just like, I was in motion, not in a good way. And none of the emotion was connected to what the fuck I was doing. I was just an abused kid, now an adult, trying to figure out fucking life. So I went into it, and I just fucking, I don't even know what only will Martin Scorsese never work with me, ever, no one will. And and it was filmed, and I wanted to say when I walked out, like, you're not going to go in that, are you? And now I know the deals. If it sucked, she's not going to waste his time. So he never, hopefully he never saw it. I bombed with Gregory Hines, rest his soul.
What?
I thought I told this story on this.
No, Gregory Hines.
Bert. This story might make me go drinking again.
Wait,
I
what?
still, every once in a while, I think of this. And you know, like, I used to do a bit on this where you just make a noise to try to shout the memory out of your head. You know? Like, you just think of something. You be with people and they don't know you're thinking about something. You think about something stupid you did, and all of a sudden you just be like, oh. It's just like, what's the matter? You're like, oh, nothing. I just, no, I'm back. It's just like, no, I'm thinking of shit that I did that oh my God, dude. I always have to cover my face when I tell this story. So, there's no way for me to equate the fucking humiliation of this. Now that I've done this big build-up, but I'll just give you the meat of the story here. I went in for this fucking thing, and they were really behind. They were like an hour behind. And the producers were there, you know, and I hated going to producers. Like, everybody's like, you want to go straight to producers. You want to go straight to producers because it's like March Madness. You got to start in the second round. So you already get a big, rather than just, I felt way more comfortable one-on-one with one person. I didn't want to go in there with the crowd because, you know, I used to fantasize, like if I had a 2 o'clock audition, I used to fantasize about 2:30. Going at 2:30, it's going to be over. This knot in my stomach is going to be gone. I'm going to get something to eat. And then I can like, you know, in the hockey games, you know, that was back when like the Red Wings and the Avalanche had this great rivalry, and I would just go home and watch that on a big stupid square TV. So anyway, so I had this audition, and they were an hour behind. There's a bunch of producers in there, and I don't want to be there, and so they end up going to lunch because their lunch arrived, and they sat and they ate their lunch. They were an hour behind, and then they had lunch. So if my audition was at 2, it was 3:30 or something. So, and I was sitting there, and I was just feeling all of this negativity. I didn't want to be there, and I was just like, dude, these are all producers in here. If you're ever going to make it, you got to start crushing these things. Go in there, be lighthearted, make a joke. So I was like, all right, when I go in there, I'm going to make a joke. Be friendly. Dude, I learned how to be friendly. I was one of those people, my resting face, people would just look at me back then and be like, dude, are you all right? And I'd just be like, yeah. Yeah, what the fuck? I'm sitting here. Is there a fucking problem with you? Like, that's the guy I was. So I walked in there, and they're like, hey, Bill, hey, how are you? And I was like, what I wanted to say was like, I'm doing great, man. How was your lunch? That's in my head, that's the way it sounded. But with that face, I came in, they went, hey, Bill, how you doing? I went, great. How was lunch? And they thought I was shitting on him. They thought I was shitting on him for taking a lunch break. They thought that I thought I was so important. Dude, and I came off like such a dick. They were like, sorry, I mean, it was hot, and I was just like, no, I didn't mean it that way. And then this guy taps me and he goes, you want to do the scene? And I look over and it's Gregory Hines. He was the star that actually showed up to the audition. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Gregory Hines. And I got my action. And he was trying to improvise. He was like hitting me with the sides, trying to bring some fucking life. He was such a beautiful, generous person. The audition was over after I said, how was your lunch? And then I spent 3.5 to 4 excruciating minutes with Gregory Hines. And then got in my fucking 88 Honda Accord, 5-speed. It's a nice car, LX. But used 5. I fucking got in it and just was like, ah! Oh, and then the worst is I get a little beep on my pager from my fucking agent because he wants to know how it went. And the worst part was when by the time I got home to my apartment, there was no message, which means he found out how it went. Because usually, if I did well, there would be my little beep thing.
Yeah.
Up at a payphone. I can't believe this is the way the world was back then.
I know,
Or
right?
I would get home, and it'd be like the hey, that agent hey,
Yeah.
call me back. You got to call back for that thing. Or the best was when there was like 2 or 3 people.
Oh yeah. I've got Andy Cohen, Barry Katz, and for Bill Burr, call us back when you can, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. There's an offer, right? So, oh my God, dude. And like, I actually now can think about that and laugh about it, but dude, that thing would haunt, that fucking audition haunted me. It haunted me. It was one of many things like that that made me leave LA and just go back to New York, and just because I was really watching Chris Rock's career being like, this is a fucking guy who got on SNL real early in his career before people could see what he could do as a comedian. He got some stuff, it didn't work out, and then he said, fuck this. And dude, a lot of people don't know, before Bring the Pain, he put out a half-hour special that, dude, when I tell you from the second he got out there to it was one of the hardest I ever saw anybody kill. Standing ovation, fucking ripped. And I remember that was the first time I'd seen him since MTV Half-Hour Comedy Hour. And I thought he was great then, but like, I was just like, wow, man, that fucking guy is a beast. And then Bring the Pain came out, that thing hit, and then all of a sudden, I'm seeing him as like second lead in a Morgan Freeman movie. So I was just like, wait a minute, I have like this fucking hall pass here. If I can build like a following, I don't have to go through all of that shit. And as long as I take acting classes along the way and work on stand-up acting, all my weaknesses, I can do the Seinfeld thing, which what I watched him do was, I remember one time he accepted an award, he actually goes, I'm Jerry Seinfeld, and I am not a good actor. But I've shown, if you surround yourself with enough talent, something like that. It was really self-deprecating, really cool acceptance speech. And I was just like, just that thing. It's like both of those guys.
Grabbing some coffee.
All right, I'm taking that from Chris. I'm taking that from Jerry. I was putting together a business model of how somebody who just did what he did with Gregory Eyes, rest his soul, and on that Scorsese thing. I like, how the fuck do I pull the red truck out of the mud on this one? So I just went back to New York, and I just tried to get better as a comedian as I kept taking acting classes.
I think that's what the problem with this movie is they have surrounded me with people that can really act. Where you're like Mark Hamill. I mean, we did this scene the other day, and I'm like, and I was just like, he got close to me, and it made me uncomfortable. I was like, well, that's how I'm supposed to be right now. Like, I'm supposed to be.
And I guarantee you, he was doing it, and he could feel that it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Either on the next take, or some of those guys or women within that will do shit like that.
Oh, hardcore. My wife in this did one thing like that. My daughter, it's insane. When you see them do acting stuff, and you're like,
We sound like morons. When we see him do acting stuff, I'm good sitting down, but stand up. It's like a Brian Regan thing. The yellow one is the sun. Hey, anybody watching this should give you hope. A couple of
yeah,
dumb
right?
somehow get into this shit.
I'm so many like I'm watching movies now. Like I watched The Hangover today, and I was like, God damn it, Zach Galifianakis is fucking phenomenal.
And he's
Like
fearless.
that, and he's fearless. Like I mean, you watch it.
His choices are not. Dude, his choices, like if those things don't work, there's people looking at you like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like him in Baskets, him in
Baskets.
even the stuff he did like Between the Ferns, hangover stuff. There was one other movie. I didn't even see the movie. I just saw the trailer of it, and he did that ridiculous over-the-top laugh. Kind of like my laugh sometimes, where he just like. But he did it so long, like you almost thought he was gonna pass out. And I remember when I came out, I was sitting there watching that, going like, I need to figure out how to get that free acting, because there's no way you're ever gonna come anywhere near what that guy's doing, because he has total access to whatever idea he has. He's just gonna go fucking. There were some guys in my acting class, men and women that were like that. There's a few people on SNL right now that I watch. I mean, they're all fucking amazing, but there was a few that I watched that had some really big things that they were doing, and the level of commitment that they had. Fuck the response. I mean, obviously they want a good response, but I got a lot out of that. Like, just, it's like speed dating. How do you do sketch comedy? I just was watching them. It's just like, all right, this just totally 100% commit to everything that you're fucking doing.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work and you make an ass out of yourself, you have to shake that off like a relief pitcher that just gave up a bomb to the upper deck. You got to do the Clemens. Give me a fucking ball. Just. We're still up by one. I'm getting the next two guys, and then we're heading out to Hooters. All right, everybody, it's Roman. Hey guys, we got big news.
Ads. Skip the ads. Hold on.
Roman is now available at FDA cleared, huh? Because safe sex is sexy.
Is this?
And increase sexual stamina.
Okay, yeah, let me skip some more.
Sellers,
Right, sellers.
if you've ever been overwhelmed in wine aisle like I am today in Serbia because nothing has a fucking label on it, probably
Drinking vampire blood.
you're not alone. Finding the perfect wine match can be intimidating, but it doesn't have to be.
Wait, is this another ad?
Sellers comes in.
Oh my god.
Sellers uses the wine algorithm to match you with the wine. Easy. It takes about
Okay. Pass all these ads. Holy shit.
access to exclusive small batch series wines that are now on the market for
Holy shit. Dude, I swear these ads are getting longer on these podcasts.
thousands of members who have discovered the wines they love. Listeners get 60% off their first 4 bottles. And it's that
There we go.
person is so good that I'm like, I watch her and I just, and I think there was and I say this honestly, and I know that I'm gonna get shit for this. There's an arrogance when you do comedy that you like look down at like sketch and you're like, okay, improv, you're like, I understand it, there's
I would say there's more infighting.
No.
Because people like,
this
uh-oh.
I lost you. Say it again.
Okay, there you go. You were saying that, you look down. I feel like there's like infighting amongst the different genres of comedy. What's your take on it?
Well, that Kate McKinnon has redefined my sense of humor. Her, fucking Tina, like the women, all the women from SNL, fucking kill me. But Kate McKinnon, god damn it, that person's funny. She is just fucking funny. And then you act in a movie and you go, oh shit, I think I have a new respect for like all. It's almost like IPAs. You remember when you were like
It's kind of like alcohol.
yeah, I go, I don't know, IPAs kind of suck. And then you get a good one, you're like, oh shit, there's like a whole variety that I got to sample.
Well,
I don't know
IPAs, it's a different kind of drinking. An IPA is like mature, who's going to be like, this is going to actually be like drinking a meal. It's going to be so fucking heavy.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit here and enjoy this and have this one, and then that's it. But I think when you drink to get drunk, the way I do, like, I just felt like I was running with ankle weights. It's like I'm trying to get fucked up here, and it's just, this is too heavy.
And I think that's with comedy, when you look at Kate McKinnon or someone like that, like Will Ferrell, or all like Kristen Wiig. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. That laugh is a different laugh.
Yeah, I always, I always thought that there was an odd sort of infighting among sketch, improv, and stand-up.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, I remember, there's another thing. I tested for a TV show called Fame LA. Remember Fame? I wanna live forever. Yeah. They were doing, that was based in New York, so this was gonna be Fame LA. And I was gonna be the comedian. They were gonna have a stand-up comic that was for some reason in this performance school, right?
Yeah.
So, I got a call back. I am a comedian, so it was going well. And then we went down to the improv, and the guy coaching us they wanted us to do improv in front of the show creators. And he kept saying to me, going like, now this is different. You're a stand-up comedian where you say the same things every night. But he just kept saying that. And in my head, I'm like, what do you mean I say the same thing every night? I don't.
Right.
If you knew anything about stand-up comedy, is that you can do it that way, or then everybody I like, you go to your act as the last resort. And you're just doing your act as you're trying to think about the shit you really want to talk about. So that's sort of like your safe zone. All right, I'll do this fucking bit now, and then, hopefully something else. So he just kept saying that. And then comedians, we used to all shit on improv. Sketch we had, like, respect for, though. I felt like sketch because when I was coming up, there was SNL, In Living Color, and then Mr. Show, and Mad TV, and it was just, the shit was funny. So, but I felt like I did a pilot one time, another failed show, and one of the writers, an actor, he was just talking. He was a show creator, and he was trying to create the show with me, and he just did this little fucking slight about the Laugh Factory. And oh, dude, I didn't let him up. I just fucking went, I go, well, what happened? I go, you did stand up a couple times, you couldn't do it, so now you got to shit on it? He goes, no, I'm just saying. I go, no, that's exactly what we're doing. Everybody started fucking laughing at him. No, it was good natured.
Yeah.
But like, then it kind of became the running joke where he would deliberately make these like side swipe fucking, backhanded compliments about stand up. And I think that there's a lot of people that shit on it because there's nothing worse than a bad comedian.
Yeah.
I know, a bad play, bad improv, there's some bad shit to get stuck in. But if you're just sitting there just watching a bad comic, at least with the white crowd, because what I always loved about a black crowd is black crowds were like, we're going to have fun with you or without you. So either you make us fucking laugh and we'll come along for the ride, or if you're not laughing, then you're going to become the joke. And then the crowd is going to be doing stand-up about you. That's kind of what I've learned.
Is improv completely a white man's sport? Because you never see like all black improv groups, or at least I'm growing up. It was always like a bunch of privileged
About to
white
get canceled. Someone's going to be like, actually,
Come on.
Roosevelt, Washington was the
Oh,
first
I got one hand on coffee,
in 1862.
one hand drawing, so I bumped the camera. Sorry about that.
All white improv audience that may not happen in urban rooms. Where you go?
You adjust to the speed. You adjust to the speed. It's like going from high school.
Wait, do you know of any all black improv groups?
I don't know. I don't know an improv group, dude.
Improv groups.
But I'm not gonna sit here and think that that doesn't exist. David Allen Greer, that guy went to fucking like Yale or something. I'm sure he did some improv.
No. I think black people do improv, but most improv groups are predominantly like college kids, like white kids going like, job, give me an occupation, or
I
give me
think
a
that's,
scenario.
it's probably just our white world.
You think?
Yes. That's why, like, you know,
Googling it right now.
whenever they try to figure out who invented something, like years later, it's always like, actually, it's like we say, oh, you know, we came up with flying. We did the airplane thing. And it's like, well, actually, there was a guy in France did a few years before that, and then there'll be some, oh, this guy over here did this. So, I mean, I don't know.
Very, I'll tell you right now, Bill, why improv so white? It's an article written about improv and the lack of diversity within it. And there is a black improv troupe. I wish I could fucking class this right now. I'm not going to say the name of this improv group because
Focus.
it's not. Something
Can we focus?
There is a black improv group. It's
There we go.
It's the we, as in the French we, right? OUI. And then
Yes.
yeah. But yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, you have a difficult time getting fucking a booking in a white establishment with that name. Yeah, hi, who do you have down there tonight? We... N-word.
It's not, yeah, yeah. But it's the formal term, N-word term. With an O.
I don't know what you're saying, but I'm not
I
gonna
don't know,
sit here
by the way,
on a racist $25,000 pyramid, get myself in trouble here.
no, but,
Pass.
yeah, I just, in New York, when I first moved to New York, and I watched it one time, and it came back the next night, and it was all very similar to what I'd seen the night before, and I was like, it's like when you see a guy that's like, oh, he's great with crowd work, but he's not really doing crowd work, he's just setting up his own jokes.
Yeah, it's like the first time you do stand-up, that is improv.
Mm-hmm.
It's your first 5 minutes, you can't even remember most of it, you just run and you yap. And then what happens is then all of a sudden you have what works, and then you don't want to go to that, you want to have new and be in the moment and all that, but if you have to, you go to your act. Improv, they have like, I would think, you know, there's only so many occupations, you do enough shows, your brain goes to experiences that you had before, or whatever. I just, I think, you know, however you want to do it, I don't give a shit. But when I was younger, I definitely had that, you know, I thought sitcoms were stupid, and I thought fucking, you know, improv is dumb, and all this. I had all these stupid, if you do a commercial, you're a fucking sellout. I had all this dumb shit. So, and then
It's amazing, is that to protect ourselves? Because I felt the same way. And even getting into this, I was like, it's like a weird way, I had real visceral thoughts about actors and movies, and then all of a sudden, once you're okay with it, you're like, I don't feel that way anymore. Like yesterday.
Well, what happened is when I was younger, I was like walled off emotionally. So that's why when I walked into a comedy club for the first time, after everything I had tried in life, I immediately felt at home. Even though I was nervous, I was just like, these people are the same. Wasn't able to articulate this in my brain, but what was I found people that were the same kind of crazy I was.
Yeah.
So it felt regular. It felt normal. And then when I would get in an acting class, when they were a little more kind of like, you know, open emotionally, and there was more caring and fostering of feelings, like I just got like douche chills and like, oh my god, this is so fucking. I mean, I would think this is so fucking gay, because that's what you said back then, which you're not allowed to say anymore, but that's what I would be thinking. I'm straight up honest. Like, I'm not like gay, homosexual, more like gay, this is making me feel uncomfortable. So, yeah, and then, yeah, I've had a fucking epiphany about the first half century of my life. Now that I'm on about the 12th or 13th hole of my life, it's not even the first half, you know? Yeah, so I'm kind of like, yeah, it all it's kind of cool because it all makes sense, and I understand that it's my fault because I didn't have the fucking information. The things that I did are still my fault, but I at least now know why I did them. Instead of just going, oh God, I hate myself, I'm a fucking idiot, I'm a piece of shit. You know, how come I can't just say I hope you enjoyed your lunch without being a douche, and then Gregory Hines is looking at me and I fucking hate myself. It's
So now,
Oh
as a
my
legit
God.
actor, are there roles that you would go, I would love to try that. Like I watched Kevin Hart, and this is where my brain is. I watched Kevin Hart get out of the box and do that one where he's takes care of the paralyzed guy, and I just go, oh, why would he never do that? Like, why didn't he just do comedy? It's so fucking funny. And then you do a little acting, and you're like, oh, I understand why he does that. Oh, I
You
get
don't want
that.
to play the same thing every time, or you don't want to. You also don't want to get like pigeonholed or whatever. You know, the good thing about being a comedian is if you actually get into acting, then you actually have another source of income, so you don't have to do shit you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it like, if it looks like, if they're going for something great, whether they get there or not, if they're going for it, if they give a shit, then I'm all in. Because I've been on a few things where people have like, you hear them going for the trope, acknowledging it's a trope, and it's just like, you're just gonna do that? It's like, why don't you use the trope as the jump off? I get that because it works for the story. I'm trying to figure out a way to do it differently, or do something. You know what I mean? Like, but when you just see people that are just doing minimal brain effort, and it's just we're making a movie or a TV show, or we're writing a script, and that's when I then it just it feels like shoveling wet snow. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna suck. Yeah, like this is gonna suck. And now, how many more days do I have on this fucking thing? But if there's like people, really trying to do something good, so I don't know. I think if you, I get going for the money. I get that because it's just like you got kids. I'm gonna do this fucking. All right, I'll put on this fucking spandex and be fucking garbage disposal man or whatever fucking. I get doing that. And plus, a lot of those superhero. I'm not really shitting on superhero movies because a lot of them are good now. I get sometimes actors doing that because I'm like a comedian. Once I prove I'm funny, I can just, the improv. I don't have to keep re-auditioning for those guys. They're just, all right, you sell tickets. All right, we come back. You assume you're going to do what you did the last time with new jokes. But actors have to just keep fucking auditioning now. They have their whole fucking career. They just keep having to go back and be like, I can do this, or be like, they're like win an Oscar. It's like, yeah, but you won an Oscar for that. You can't do this. And it's just like, well, that thing I won an Oscar for, why? That's not who I was. So why wouldn't you think can you at least give me a shot? Like I remember seeing Jim Carrey had to put himself on tape to do that Andy Kaufman movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's a fucking stand-up comic. He knew Andy. He all of this brilliant shit he's been doing, and plus his movies, were opening up 30 million a fucking weekend. He still has to go down and be like, okay, Jim Carrey auditioning for Man on the Moon.
Wow.
I remember sitting back being like, what the fuck do I even want to get in on that?
And then you look at him in that movie, and you're like, I mean, I don't think.
You got to see the making of that, dude. You got to see the making of that, and he does a bit where he's being Tony Clifton, and there's a convertible car. He gets in the car and reenacts the JFK assassination with. It's one of the most brilliant fucking things. Right, and I got to do SNL with him, and I asked him, I go, dude, did you work that out? And he just laughed, man, I was just fucking around. It's just like,
Jesus.
No, that guy's like, he's like, I don't know how to describe that guy's brain. That guy's brain.
Maybe as you talk about Jim Carrey, I go, I wonder if I kind of slept on him, but everyone appreciates the movies he's done, but when you go, oh, the work he did, Man of the Moon, he really transformed himself into Andy Kaufman. Ace Ventura, to this day.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Hilarious. You know what it was? What I loved, it was hilarious to me, and I could watch it with my niece, who was like 5 years old, and I was like 30. And we were both laughing our asses off. It's genius. And then also, the cable guy, he's fucking unbelievable in that.
Amazing.
And there was some movie he did, and the only reason why I got the reference is because I played drums, and I used to take drum lessons from an old big band swing guy. This guy, Frank Shushan. He used to call himself the last of the great Armenian trap drummers. That was his thing. Fucking hilarious, this guy. And he was doing something, and he went, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, salt peanuts, salt peanuts. He was beating somebody up in a bathroom. I can't remember what, but he made a reference to some bebop song. It was a Disney Gillespie, and later just from reading about him, I was like, oh, his dad was a musician, he was a jazz musician. That's how we knew that song. Because, dude, it was like, what, when I saw that, like nobody made a reference to that song. It's a song from like the 1940s. He made a reference to that song like the 1990s, like 50 fucking years later. And what I loved about it was you either got it or you didn't. And the small amount of people that would have got it. And the only reason why I got it was because my drum teacher at the time was in his 70s. So that's like when that guy uses it, like his, like I feel like my references are kind of from here to here. Dude, his shit is like spanning like generations. All of that stuff. He actually, when he did when he was the fly on Mike Pence's head, I did that episode with him on SNL. He showed me, the second he saw it, he had the sketch idea, and he showed me the video that he sent to fucking Lorne Michaels.
No way.
And it was just him in his kitchen doing it. And he was like doing like you know the mosquitoes, like they moved it, moved their front legs. He was making and he was saying all this hilarious shit. I don't know what he had in his mouth, but in the end he just was like, and he just pukes this thing up, and it just perfectly splatters on the counter. And then he's like, all right, man, tell me what you think of that. And I was watching, dude, filmed on his fucking, just on his phone. It looked like an outtake from like an Oscar-winning movie. And I was so thankful he showed me after I did the gig. Because if I saw that before, I would have just been, because I was already freaking out that him and Alec were going to be on the beginning of it. And I'm just like, I can't fuck with these guys. Maya, Rudolph, they're going to do what they do, and then the show's going to be, it's like when the headliner has to get out of there and goes on first.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on, people, we still got more show. I was gonna go on, hey,
God.
what's up with Monica Lewinsky?
I'll tell you, man, it's been a really eye-opening experience to be this vulnerable, like, you know, where you just go like, am I doing good or am I not doing good? And you start
It's a good place to be, dude.
yeah.
You start thinking you're the shit. Like, I don't know, maybe for some people it works, but like, if you give a fuck enough to be asking them that and you question it, there'll be a level of vulnerability people be able to relate to. I'm sure it's gonna be great, but enjoy it, dude. Definitely enjoy it.
I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. We went to the U.S. ambassador's house last night in Serbia.
Oh,
We had a party over there. It was, dude. I'm like, I feel like a kid in a candy shop. Like I'm having so much fucking fun that I go. I just wanted to slow down.
Some senator is gonna call that guy. What the fuck are you doing over there in the embassy, partner? This
I'm trying to
shirtless
go.
comic, is that what the fuck you doing over there?
I'm trying to throw a 4th of July party at his house.
That's hilarious. How long are you gonna be out there?
Here until July 7th.
Oh, that's great, okay.
Leanne's here right now. Leanne leaves tonight or tomorrow morning to go back to LA. She was here for the first week of production, and she is brutally fucking honest. Like, to the point where I was like, I don't know if I want her around, because if I'm not doing good, she'll tell me. She'll be like, Jay, you're not doing a good job.
I
I
know.
was like, I don't think I need to know that.
Yeah, you do. You do. Well, I mean, there's a way to
She's
say.
like, I shouldn't say it right, Phil.
Yeah, my wife will be just. My wife just is like. My wife is just like. Yeah, is that what they're gonna do? Because that's like not. She starts speaking in 3/4 sentences.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, kind of, but like, you know. Then I go like, just fucking tell me why it sucks and why. Just tell me so I can fix it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Yes,
want
you
you to
can.
get mad at me. It's like, can you just rip the Band-Aid off?
Yeah.
But the
She
reality is,
came-
if she actually went up and like, yeah, that sucked because of this. I'd be like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
well, fuck me then, huh? And she's, I can't win.
No, she gave me a real big scheme that we had to do. It was a last scene shot right before we wrapped last week, and she came to me and she was like really excited. She was, you killed it. And I went, wait. And I was like, I know that you'll be truthful. Like, I really did do good. She goes, no, you did. And I was like, everyone else is gonna lie to you. You're telling the fucking truth.
Yeah, gotta have that. You gotta, you can't have the yes man or woman around you.
So is the store 100% capacity?
No, I did the opening night there, and then I didn't do last week. I've been working on a few things, and also, to be honest with you, trying to be less busy. To kind of tone down 50 years of these scatterbrained and running around, my fucking legs shaking. So I'm going down there.
Here, let me do this. I don't think this camera's flush yet. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking forward. And I have my first indoor stand-up gig right before you wrap in Vegas. I'm doing the Cosmopolitan. So, I don't know what the seating capacity is going to be, but it is Vegas, and it's going to be, it's about six weeks out. So, who knows where that'll be? But I know I just got a good feeling we're slowly going to come out of this thing, and it'll be back. Just saying now, you don't have to wear a mask if you're outside or whatever. I still kind of do it, but like, it's kind of weird, like if you're vaccinated. But I get it because the vaccine is still new. They always err on the side of caution. I wish people would just understand that about medicine. Like, how many people are like, dude, they said I'd never walk again, and I fucking proved them wrong. It's like, they do that on purpose. They diagnose the worst case scenario, so anything else looks like an improvement. It helps your psyche, and then it also helps them avoid a fucking lawsuit. If you actually start doing the dude like, oh yeah, you'll be back on your feet, and then like, my fucking foot never works. He said it would work. You're in trouble. They do that all the time, so they're just erring on the side of caution. And just, I know it's not going to happen, but people would just listen and do what they say, and everybody does it. They're trying to walk 7 billion people out of the same fucking door.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop climbing out windows and shimmying down the fucking spout. Just help them out and listen to them.
Yeah. Well, no one's wearing masks here in Serbia. I mean, not no one. I mean, people wear masks. Like, we were just in the grocery store tonight. Everyone wore a mask. But like, outdoor dining is open.
Do they have a vaccine out there or no?
Yeah, everyone's getting vaccinated. I mean, a lot of people are. A lot of people have gotten their first shot, from what I understand.
Well, that's good.
Space shot, or they just got their second shot.
Dude, it's a win-win.
But their
Because
numbers are
like,
pretty low here.
but it's like it's a win-win because either it works and this shit's over, or they're trying to exterminate a lot of us, and you know, it'll cut down on all the pollution.
Eco-friendly.
I mean, yeah, I don't. I don't give a shit. They're actually secretly trying to kill me. It's like, all right, man, I had a good one.
I had a really
Yeah.
good one.
I really have, because I gotta be honest with you. Most people back in caveman days, you lucky if you fucking live fucking 8 years. That's some saber-tooth tiger coming in, dragging you out of the fucking cave, shivering, living for 30 years, shivering your ass off. I had television my whole life. I'm good. Baseball games.
I like that air conditioning.
Yeah. Air conditioning. There you go. Which I believe was invented by a black person. I was told that the other night.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you know, they were doing that whole thing, oh, white guys are lame and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I think, learning how to fly is pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
There was just comics going back and forth. Like, air conditioning's cool. That was a black person. I'm like, all right. There's a million other things, You don't like cars? Fuck.
Oh, I got to
We
play
used to have
your,
those arguments all the time. That's how I ended up doing. I was gonna try to do the Uptown whatever they call it, the all black shows. I was gonna do those anyway. But when Patrice and Keith used to fucking sit around and fucking sit there talking all that shit, that's why I went over. I said, all right, I'll fucking go kill over there. Now what are you gonna do?
yeah.
And then I also pissed them off because I found out that it's actually easier to be the only you in a room. It's so much easier. All that shit, female comments, my God, it's just men and blah, blah. Yeah, and there you are with your complete, unique point of view. Because it's just more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. Come on, dude, we've both seen it. Like, as a white comic, you go from an all-black crowd, all you gotta be like, oh, I'm fucking scared. And then the music comes on, and I don't know what's happening. Right? And then you see a black comic go in front of a white crowd. Oh, look at this white lady all nervous. Huh? Racially profiling me. Oh, shit, blah, 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 blah. I need to get with a white woman because she got the good credit. It's very easy. Fish out of water is the easiest fucking thing to play. I am not like you. When I used to do those Uptown rooms, how much harder the black comics had to work in those rooms versus me. All I had to do was get past the first joke and just prove I was funny, and then you just became the mascot. Like, oh, isn't that adorable? I find this white guy humorous. And they'd be up there flipping over shit, beatboxing, having to do everything. You corny motherfucker! I'd be like, "You're better than I am." Anyway, we're coming to the end here, dude. I know how grueling just the small shit that I've done. I can't imagine being the lead and stuff, but I'm very proud of you, dude. That is no small feat to get to that and to get it made and all of that shit. So, have fun at the U.S. Embassy and shooting your movie. And we're gonna, for those people watching, because people were asking, like, is the Bill Burr thing over? And it's just, I didn't know if you were publicly saying that you were over in, like, Serbia. I don't know if you put that out there yet.
No, we put it out. Yeah, it's right. This is fucking most connected I felt with someone. Just doing a podcast, hanging out with a buddy, and with your own sensibility right now on set, and kind of measuring what you say and how you behave because you don't know everyone yet. It's been great, man.
Oh, fuck, that happened the other day. I had to come in and I had to do a voiceover gig.
Yeah.
And, I did the gig and they were going like, that was good, just do it faster. And I was just like, oh shit, is this like those old Law and Order gigs? Did you ever do a Law and Order?
No.
Dude, it was just like they were cramming so much fucking information in 42 minutes that you would literally have to come in and just be like, oh, you're my mom, you're gonna die? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's terrible, huh? Let me grab this gun, dun, 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 dun. Like, you just had to fucking blow through all of it. So I was improvising that, and I said something about race, right? I just see this younger woman who was there, she's like, it's just like, I and shut up because, dude, it's at the point now, dude. It is literally like the way I joke around is like an old guy being like, 23 to do, Charleston. And I'm still joking, but like, I just like, okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. Yeah, so.
Oh, that's great. No, man, this has been a blast.
I think it's just because they're maybe like in the corporate world or something. I have no fucking idea, but anyways, but you know,
Well,
we
we'll
have
do
to
it
keep
next week.
everything installed, over, so you know.
We'll do this again next week. I'll do it from the offices so that we have a better internet connection.
Okay, whatever. Well, I'll work around your schedule because I know. I mean, you're probably on it every day almost, right?
Yeah.
Did you just freeze up? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up so you can get some sleep
Awesome, brother.
and finish your rosé. All right, everybody, this has been another wonderful episode of The Bill Pod. All right, brother, have fun over there, man. I'll talk to you bring late, as they say in show business. All right, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you.
Dang. Doing the damn thing. What do I got coming on next? Oh, David Finch, Monday Night Draw.
All right, we're live, Meredith. Meredith is typing.
I just typed unboxing video with Meredith Finch. I don't have a microphone. I just typed unboxing video with Meredith Finch, and then I read the address on these freaking packages.
Yeah.
You know who they're addressed to?
Right?
Yes. I'm like, son of a kitty cat. They're not even for me. That means this t-shirt in here, not extra small. I mean, what else could it be?
Seems like a shirt.
It's pretty much guaranteed to be clothing.
So here's the thing.
And why is the package so cool?
Look at that package. Check that out. So we got these in the
Not for me though. Not for Meredith.
one, and this has got to be a shirt. Maybe it's more than one.
It feels like one.
Is it?
Just open it.
So I got a shirt then.
I need the sad trombone. Not for Meredith. No,
All right.
Meredith.
I'm gonna open it.
We're starting off not with our unboxing.
But it's only because you're over there. Unless you want to come sit here for a minute.
No, because it's not for me. It's not addressed to Meredith Finch.
All right, here we go.
Jesus.
Well, there's a few things. It's not just one thing.
Then I drop it.
Okay. Here's the sticker.
He.
So I got a sticker, which you really, and if I bring it closer, just go, you know what, put it here.
That's better.
So the sticker, I'm putting this down as if you can't even see
Yeah,
it.
which they can totally see it better.
This is a mask. Very cool.
Oh, I was just gonna totally steal that.
Hell yeah. Another one,
Sticker. Not another mask, a
A
sticker.
button. plus a,
Tattoo.
is that collector's button? Oh, it comes with a button.
Oh, that would be awesome if it was like a fake tattoo.
I got a beanie.
No, put it down. Put it down. There you go.
I got a beanie. Very cool. Look at the
No,
version.
okay, first of all, it's not a beanie. It's a toque.
It's a toque.
We
But
live in
everybody calls
Canada.
it- all right.
It's a toque. It's not a
You
beanie.
know, I lived in
Toque.
California for a long
Yeah,
time,
well,
but
to heck with you, Californians.
Yeah.
You live in Canada. I don't know who's gonna wear that T-shirt because it's not you.
it's a large, so I'm gonna wear it.
You better stretch it. I'll stretch it. You held it up. I'm gonna stretch that out in laundry for you.
Not being nice right now. I'm a large. I'm still a large. Anyway, that's awesome.
Don't worry.
We have a whole other package too. We have to open it, hand it over.
Don't worry. I won't put it in the dryer. I'll just get it out of the washing machine and go stretch.
And so I also got this.
Stretch.
Put it up here. We really should have Jimmy on for this.
Not too bad, Jimmy.
Have you thought about
Who
it?
knew it was gonna show up on a Monday?
I think Jimmy's here in the
He
chat.
is. He said like full screen, but it is what it is. Tubes for the win. That's right, Charles.
I think
Tubes
you
for the
can
win.
Check this out.
It's not better. It's better when you throw it down on the.
actually, this is my layout for today's sketch.
Micro layout.
Micro layout. That's how I do them.
No, you don't. You don't do that. That's like teeny tiny.
Okay, it depends. If I
That's-
have to do it to present it to an
That's like
editor.
the kind of like I'm making a point. I'm going to sign my signature so small that you have to find it with a magnifying glass. I know.
Where's this coming from?
I'm spicy today.
All right. For Henry
I didn't
Jarman
have
and
spicy
for all of you,
food.
this is the layout for the document that we do today. And if it makes no sense because it's small, it'll make more sense when I start on it. All right. I can't even open the package. Oh, and it's well packed.
It would be better if you weren't full screen on something that you
The
can't see.
tape is Page One Comics tape. How does that even do this?
Jimmy, that, you know how you do it? You live in the States where everything doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
I don't want to damage it.
Are you going to put that tape on your arm?
No, but still, you know. And look at this. I cannot believe how nice the packaging is for all this.
Well, you put my packaging chain, but to be fair, I'm from Canada.
So it comes with a couple of posters, which I kind of don't want to do right now. Well, you know what? I'm almost ready to mess them up. But,
I'll open them.
you know, so here, you do it while I do this.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna end up. Yeah, I got this. Yeah. All right. Watch it here. And so I got my cover of Dragon Rage. I did this one 5 months ago, 6 months ago, anyway. Plus, here's Jimmy's cover.
How cool is that?
Oh, nice. Here. So this one is a high quality print out of my pencil, which, I mean,
I
it
mean,
looks great.
it's glossy, so you can't ink over it, but
Yeah.
still.
Very nice. Yeah, it's glossy, that's true. But yeah, it's cool paper. That's full size.
But you could, scan that and print it off on regular paper.
Very, very cool. All right. Here, I'll let you open this one. Jimmy's cover.
Oh, can I? Can I, David? Can I open it? You're so nice.
Oh, and my cover. So you can do a sketch.
I can, and I will do a
I'm gonna
sketch.
get Jazz
And I'm gonna sell my sketch.
Is that Jazz?
You're not gonna let me do the sketch? You just said so you can do a sketch. You literally said so you can do a sketch.
I meant so one could do a sketch. One that's capable. All right.
You're sleeping in that. You're sleeping in here tonight. Oh wait, how's that different from any other night when you fall asleep with your page on your chest?
All right. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for sending our package full of Dragon Rage and shirts and hats and all the great stuff that you had coming out with it.
Not addressed to me, Jimmy.
Not just me.
And so Jimmy is, and I don't see a T-shirt in my size,
Maybe
so
you can play enough.
Jimmy's band.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. And a color version. Very cool. So thank you so much. I have a link in the description for Jimmy's Indiegogo campaign. He has another campaign up for Dragon Rage with a bunch of special extra stuff. I did another cover, so that'll be in there too. So yeah, please check it out and support Jimmy Reyes, Jazz Singh, Andrew Dollhouse, and Dave.
Don't look at me for help.
Dave, I'm the worst with
They
Dave.
didn't
You know
send
that,
stuff
Dave.
to
Right
me.
here.
I got nothing in the mail. It's alright. I spent my money today anyway.
Dave Bone Comics, Jimmy says, note to self, extra small t-shirt from there. Great.
Extra small.
It's not a shirt from there, it's a dress. See, there you go. Regain says. Alright, I'm gonna get started.
Alright, I'm gonna read the first super chat. Hold on, I gotta find it. Trenton
Oh,
Massey
I need to.
wins for the first super chat of the night for $5. Trenton says, "Hi D&M. I saw the paint stream and I loved it, and I'm getting matte medium to paint. LOL. Invincible is amazing and developed so much. It's great.
Yeah, I was so pumped to do this
I
one.
mean-
I didn't ask Meredith for permission tonight. Put it that way. I knew this is what I really wanted to draw. I mean, I am on episode 4 and I'm milking it. I'm trying to watch it slowly, and it is such a great show.
It was the challenge. The first, like,
I'm gonna say the first half of the first episode, I was like, oh, I don't know, is this really for me? I really wasn't feeling it at all, really. And,
it was like we were watching Isaac's cartoons.
and then once it started developing, like once the plot started going, I cannot believe how incredible it is. Like, such a great
I'm
show.
trying to sleep through it, but I
Actually,
can't help myself.
Eric Grove talked me into watching, and he said, just be aware, the first episode, it can be like, it's a bit different. Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's great all the way through. It's just not really kind of my kind of thing when it started, That's all. So, but yeah, what an amazing show.
All right, next super chat comes from SCS Powerlifting for $5. SCS in the house this week. SCS says, nice sketch. My favorite night of the week. Awesome job. One comics. Doesn't matter because he's banned.
Yes,
I didn't get my T-shirt. It's like I'm not even here, Jimmy. It's like I'm not even here.
Who knows who's in charge?
Yeah, which is why I don't know why the T-shirt came in a large.
Like I said, who knows who's in charge?
Exactly.
I mean,
Is that how that works?
yeah.
Okay, let's pretend that way. I hear feet running.
I hate it when I have a sketch, and I kind of like how it's looking, and then I start drawing it bigger, and I lose that, which is why a lot of times, here, I can show this. It's an old one. So here is a sketch for Walking Dead cover. I think this is like 3 years or something, so it's a little older. And this is what I draw to turn in. So not only can the editor actually see what I'm drawing.
Okay, stop right here. 'Cause
What?
This is a lie right now. The only editor and the only person who gets a sketch this nice is Robert Kirkman.
Okay, it's true. Yeah,
When,
I normally
see
draw
the
it
sketch,
more like
the
this.
sketch that he drew and showed you for the stream, that's what he turns into Marvel and DC.
You know what? I love Marvel and DC. For you to say that is very cool.
But it's
they're
the
very
truth.
gracious to allow me to do that. And
They
you know
are,
what?
they're awesome.
What actually happened is for the first issue cover,
We love
Walking
Marvel
Dead.
and DC.
Yeah, we do. The first issue cover for Walking Dead, he had something very, very specific, so he wanted a bit of a tighter layout just to make sure that we kind of had it nailed down. And so I did that, and then I actually just put it up on my screen, I blew it up, and traced it onto my board, and I thought, wow, this is so much easier. So I started doing that, and I started drawing tighter layouts, and I do that for Marvel and DC also now. What do you?
You do better sketches.
I do better sketches than I used to,
Like,
and it's actually sped me up.
The entire time I've known you, with the
Yeah.
exception of the last 6 months, I've turned in stuff. I'm like, sometimes I find it indecipherable, and yet somehow, this is the editor's bid. Like, it's a Dave Finch cover. It's gonna be fine. I think I
He
can.
knows what he's doing.
Pretty much.
None of the characters are turned their back to the reader. That's
They're-
the things
seems
that they really
fine.
worry about. I'll tell you right now. They don't want their characters' backs turned to the reader, ideally. You want your focal point to be the most interesting point of the cover and really the character that you're selling the book on. Things like that.
Oh,
They're-
wow.
they're very-
Nothing I could do about that.
They know. I
Okay.
am pretty good at avoiding tangents. I mean, it happens. Tangents will happen, and sometimes things will fall apart. And so, yeah, I kind of get away with doing stuff with video user. But the downside of that is I'll turn in the layout and I'll start drawing it and I'll think, oh, this is not working at all. I'll hate it, and I'll end up basically going from scratch. So I turn in the cover that not only could you not really tell it was in the layout, but the cover ultimately doesn't reflect it at all. That happens too, which is not good. They okay something and then they get something that's completely off. Generally, they're pretty good about it. And actually, it's funny that we can talk about this because it really plays into my book of the week this week. So there you go.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited. More exciting for me than book of the week is the book of the week theme music.
It's exciting for us all.
So awesome. Very exciting.
No one tell Meredith that I have 2 figures on this picture.
No, wait! Oh no! Stop! Stop!
Tell me you did hit the buzzer again.
No, I didn't hit the buzzer. Now I've hit 2 buttons at the same time. Where's my car crash? I can't. This stupid thing. Fix it. I can't even go back and forth between like 1 and 2. You did this to me on purpose. Here it goes.
I did. Speaking of tangents.
No! Stop it!
Here's a nice tangent. Look at this. I've got this arm perfectly lined up with the legs, so I need to fix it. It's too bad. I didn't know the arm was just hanging off the.
I just car crashed over your talking. Do you know? Here's a funny thing as you talk about tangents and car crashes. That I got a text from your sister Tuesday of last week after our stream asking asking if you'd been in a car accident.
Yeah, I talked to my mother. She was very worried about it.
Your
Because
mom?
you with your car crash sounds, and you said something that I can't remember what you said, but anyway, and we didn't have a stream on Monday. We had to switch it to Tuesday, so my mother thought, oh no, something happened. We got into an accident.
But no, it's just a sound effect. The funny thing is that what I'm gonna have another just for that.
Please. Oh,
I'm sorry. When you tell me I can't, it just means I can. I'm just that kind of person. To be fair, I only drank tea today. It was 3 bags in the pot, extremely caffeinated tea. Actually, I'm very excited. I told Dave I was going to dominate the stream and all we were going to talk about was the farm. The chickens are getting tail feathers. You can talk about your tangent now.
I already fixed it.
Okay. So then I'll read a super chat and then I'll talk about chickens. Michael Johnson Curry has a super chat for $4.99 because everybody wants to hear about the chickens. I wanted to tell everyone to watch Dave's zombie video, says Michael. It's great. Dave, you sneaky little devil. Your process of laying out teeth is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it. And, really thank you so much.
Michael, he is a sneaky little devil, though. You're not wrong.
Well, one thing about longer videos like that, they're long. But they end up being a lot less focused in terms of, like, this is a tutorial and we're doing this. Like, I end up being able to kind of just, off the cuff, throw in a lot of different ideas that I'm having in my head while I'm drawing. So, kind of like that, I've got it. I keep everything in one folder. It's not good. Sort by. Would be really updated on the folder. All right.
Well, I can talk during
Yeah,
this.
you do that.
Okay, I'm going to read the next super chat from Solstice Art for $5. Solstice wants to know, David, do you ever get hand cramps from drawing so much? And if so, are there any exercises you could recommend getting over them? The only person in this house with hand cramps is Meredith. You don't get hand cramps, do you?
Well, I don't now, but, well, and I get this question quite a bit, why do I have this ugly piece of tape on here? That's why. And I don't press as hard with my pens. I press much harder with the pencil. I generally, which is not ideal, but I do. And I've been doing it long enough now to know that it's not going to change, so that's why. And yeah, no, I'm pretty good that way.
I get hand cramps. Mostly only my right hand though, because I'm using it for building stuff all the time. And I think because the tendon shortened when I broke my thumb and I was in a cast for a few weeks.
I am such a huge fan of the show.
You're totally ignoring me. This happens all the time.
This sketch
Over the course of the day-to-day conversations that we
works
have.
out well. I don't want this to be,
I talked to you about building my chicken coop,
one of the ones that doesn't work out.
and you talk about the art stream that you did with Eric.
So yeah, I'm trying to lay this out a little bit more thoroughly.
Do you want me to keep doing this?
Well, you go ahead. I'm specifically ignoring you.
You are specifically ignoring me. Poor Meredith. See what happened that day?
So this is actually the second time I've drawn Invincible. I drew a cover years ago now.
That was a long time ago.
A long
We were
time.
in the. I feel like we were in the old house.
We were in the new old house, but it was probably,
I thought we were in the old house.
probably 2007 or 8. Anyway, it was a long time ago, and it didn't work out. It wasn't in my opinion, it was not my best. I don't know. So I really want this to work out well. And
I have spots before my eyes. You're like you're giving me like a look at you.
I feel like I have the advantage of being much more school.
You should. This is the problem. You just trail off. Greg Al Static Art has a super chat for $2. You talk over me when I talk, but then you talk and you just trail off. Hey, who do you beat down? Omni Man?
I haven't actually completely decided, but I'm thinking Omni-Man, yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. So, that kind of makes some sense to me. The other character that I really wanted to have him fighting is, and I'm the worst with names, the one-eyed guy, the guy right in the middle. But I'm So, Meredith, have you been watching the show at all, or are you just falling asleep?
I can hear what's happening.
Okay, so there you go. You're watching.
Stuff, people are, it's very violent.
Yeah, but you know what? It's Ryan Otley violent.
I keep asking you, why is Omni-Man?
Ryan Otley, he
You
makes
don't know
everything so pretty that even with the outrageous violence, just it's not disturbing. It's crazy how he's able to pull it off. Okay, not
I would
as disturbing
disagree.
as it could be.
I would disagree that it's not disturbing, and so have people on the stream who also said it was disturbing. Pageman Comics has a super chat for $5. Jimmy says, I was worried about last Monday. I thought maybe the pinches were victims of a chicken attack. Eric Girl rocks. We didn't have our chickens last Monday. We got them on Tuesday. Last Tuesday was the day they arrived, and they had no feathers. They were just these little yellow bundles of down. And now they have like every day they add a layer of wing feather, and 2 days ago their tail feathers started coming. It is like the coolest thing ever to watch chickens grow their feathers. Dave refuses to look at them though.
Yeah, I have no interest in chickens. I want to get his costume sketch in enough that I can put it in the reference characters. I don't know. Having this thing on the screen to a beautiful picture.
Tits McGee says, I got a job as a dental assistant this year specifically, so I'd have an excuse to stare at people's faces and into their mouths for the facial teeth anatomy reference.
That is dedication.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be in somebody's dirty mouth.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure there are times it's definitely more unpleasant than others. So I'm totally taking Joe Quesada right now. If you guys are familiar with his Ninjak and his X Factor, and especially his Asriel, sort of Asriel. This kind of pose with the legs, that's incredibly well. Fortunately, I'm not looking at it, so this might not. Not going to be Joe Quesada.
Cat is gonna kick my computer to the floor. Just like going hard, scratching her face on the computer.
All right. So
Alright,
I'm gonna
next.
have to turn this upside down in order to draw the other figure. Maybe some people can draw upside down really well. I'm not one of those people.
You really are drawing two figures?
No, this one, this
Dave.
figure.
Dave.
What?
Really? Really? Like, really? Is tonight the night you want to push that envelope? Are you sure? Are you sure tonight's the night to push the envelope?
Wrap up at the door. How's that?
Okay. Is that a pinky promise?
Yeah.
Everybody heard it.
Yeah,
Pinky
no problem.
promise.
Don't worry.
Alright. I'm looking at you and I don't believe you.
Why?
Is this a two-stream drawing?
You know what? I'm gonna play it by ear if it needs to be.
Michael Johnson Curry, I haven't even shoot chat for 499. Michael says, also, I've been having trouble drawing a connection between the thighs to the torso. Your video about them touches on them separately, but not together.
Yeah, you know what? I've talked about it. Here's the problem. There are a lot of things. Backs is a good example. Now, actually, I have to say, I've been working on backs a little bit, and I feel like I have an anatomical structure that I'm really happy with. I want to do something more in depth on that. It's something I've struggled with for years. This channel, I mean, it's been great for a lot of things. Connecting with all of you guys, and I mean, that's invaluable. But also just in terms of my own art, I'm having to learn things and think about things that there are ways if you're bad at drawing backs, you can cheat it pretty effectively most of the time, and it's very easy to avoid your weaknesses as an artist, and that's a real risk of drawing pages. It's amazing how much drawing interior pages can expose you as an artist, expose your weaknesses, but it's also amazing how after you get a little bit of experience, you can really find workarounds for things you're uncomfortable with. Basically, you learn one way to draw something, and then you just draw it that way every single time, no matter what. And like you'll see artists, and I mean everybody does this, I do this, where you'll have the hand in basically 3 or 4 different positions depending on if it's down or whatever, and it's like always that's really because you develop just enough that you can get through it, but it's you can really limit yourself. Anyway, point being, I've been working on backs. I want to do something on that, and also legs. Now legs, I'm still a little that connection area. I don't really know. Here's my problem. The actual anatomy that you get from anatomy books, I need to do this upside down to draw his hand out. The actual anatomy you get from anatomy books is not useful for backs and for any muscles that are very thin and have a lot of thin layering of muscle. So it's not like your biceps are a big muscle that has a shape. It's very easy to learn that. Some muscles are very difficult, and it gets very thin and a little confusing up in here. And lighting it so it works and making it work in your art is a whole other challenge. And so what ends up happening is you learn, just like a lot of things, how to do it a few different ways, and you don't actually learn the underlying form, or I don't, as well as I could. I know this happens to other artists, it's not just me. And so that's another area that I really want to work on. We were actually very fortunate. A few weeks ago, we had, I was talking about the muscle connection under the shoulder here, and I had to do it quickly because, I mean, it's, trying to get pictured on Zoom, and I don't want Meredith to mute me, but Ed McGinnis sent me some reference that was really incredible. And so I've been looking at that. I did some drawing on the screen with it, and I did some of my own. And I feel like I kind of have that area nailed down a little bit more. So it's another, anyway, I need to do like a problem areas video. Or who knows? Your turn, go.
Super chat
Speak.
from B-Flow for $4.99.
From B-Flow?
B-Flow.
B-Flow, okay. That makes more sense. B-Flow. All right, thank you, B-Flow.
Hi, DM. David, do you ever struggle with back pain drawing for a prolonged time? Love your connection with the fans. It's inspired me to draw again. And thanks.
Thank you very much. And that's always the best thing to hear.
I have back pain.
Yeah, if doing this is inspiring people to draw more. I know you know how I massage this woman's back. How many times a week would you say?
Once a week. Stop it.
5.
Stop it.
10 times a week. Anyway, often. You would admit often.
Once a week, maybe.
Okay, once. Yeah, still. Come on.
That's fair.
This is like, we're talking full shiatsu massage. Not really, but,
Says the guy who, when I don't make his coffee, oh no, let's talk about cleaning your office yesterday. On Mother's Day, I get up and I come down here at 6 o'clock in the morning, clean your office. And do you know what you said to me?
what did I say?
Somebody's been down in my office rearranging my stuff.
Fuck
No.
yeah.
Thank you for getting all the construction debris out of it.
Dude, the layering with these helmets and all the gear and
You've
everything,
been down there rearranging my stuff.
man,
I'm like, what?
it's so interesting.
And then I spent the rest of my Mother's Day in bed.
I just
Let's
feel
see,
Peace out.
one more.
All you people.
One more.
like, no.
And the dirt and the rain.
What can I do?
And everything.
Yeah. Yeah, she really did spend the entire rest of the day in bed.
I watched Yellowstone. I binge watched
We're not talking about that show now.
Yellowstone. It's a great show. You like horses and chickens. There's no chickens. There are horses though.
What was the thing with superheroes? Do they have the ears covered or uncovered? There's nothing worse than drawing the ear than the covered.
Are you drawing on me, man?
No, I'm drawing Invincible.
But who's underneath Invincible?
Omni-Man. It's gonna be Omni-Man.
Do you know that Invincible hurts his dad?
Okay, so here's where I am on the show.
Do we know that Omni-Man, does Invincible know Omni-Man is bad?
I feel like Invincible potentially has reasons to want to. So you can call this my reaction to how things are going on in the show right now. How's that? Is that so
It's a reactionary art.
It's a reaction. There you go.
That's what art is, reactionary. Alright, Daniel Costelli has a super chat for $4.99. Daniel says, hi guys! Just want to say thanks for the amazing painting stream, well worth the wait. I was curious if you were familiar with Robert McGinnis.
I think it's older. I've got a few Western art books that I really like. But yeah, I've got his book, to pick one. He was a Hollywood artist. He did a lot of movie posters, a lot of that kind of thing for years and years. And he retired to doing Western art, and it's beautiful, beautiful stuff, incredible stuff. As a matter of fact, actually, I looked at it for I did a painted cover for Brightest Day. This is 11 years ago now, and the background for it is really influenced by Robert E. Guinness. You know what? Is it close enough to say it's his wife? I think if I was a better painter, it would be. Put it that way. I did the best I could.
Everybody seems to like the Problem Areas video.
Yeah.
So Monster Art says, I love the entire Problem Areas series.
Okay.
Michaela Fernandez says, Problem Areas video was a great idea.
Okay, so here's the idea that I had
And-
next.
And Prater 7 says Yellowstone is great. So
Well, fair enough. All right. I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, right, yeah. So this next coming tutorial, my plan was to do fight scenes. That's kind of what I was thinking. But I could do problem areas instead. So I should really. I'll do this. After this, I'll put up a poll. And I'm gonna end up doing both of them.
cool.
I'll do them both anyway, but
All right, fine.
I don't understand.
Poll's the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's my own personal opinion. All right, we have a super chat from Tarioe. I know I said that wrong. Sorry, I'm sorry. It just sounds like I said it wrong. It's that kind of day. $4.99 a super chat, but I don't see a comment from Tari, so now I have to look for a comment from Tari. Maybe he's just super chatting, but he's not just super chatting. I missed it. So I'm gonna read the next super chat so I can until Tari can like tag me in something. Kenton Little has a super chat for $5. And Kenton wants to know, have you read the comic?
No.
No.
Okay, that's not entirely true. I read a little bit of it. The problem is I'm so busy, and I need this here. I had it. So no, I'm really coming into it fresh.
That was a quick answer. Michaela Fernandez says, Meredith, happy Mother's Day from all the flock. Thank you so much, Michaela. And Paris has a super chat for $4.99. Paris says, my friend watched your video on negative space and thinks he can make it his entire style. Do you think that's possible?
Oh yeah, sure. There are
100%.
incredible artists that's what they do. Chris Sammy, I made him on the top of my head, and all that. There are quite a few. Frank Miller's probably the most favorite. Alex Post did that a lot, and there's varying degrees of it. You'll find artists that use it as a technique, among like kind of in their toolbox, and then artists that really make a whole style out of it. It is very, very graphically. I love it as a basis for a lot of what I do because you make an image that really holds together, and then from there, I can put all my detail on it and everything, but I have something that's really graphically working first. Now, Merrick could definitely tell you there are many times when I have something that's kind of working, and I start remembering that.
And he ruins it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he overdoes it. And most especially happens when he paints.
Yeah, not knowing what I'm doing. The more lost I am, the more uncomfortable.
You have a painting of like, oh my gosh. And I just literally want to take it away from you. At that moment.
I do.
Okay.
Is it a Wolverine picture? Oh yeah, here.
Speaking of paintings,
Yeah, I did this with Eric.
Holy
Eric
shit.
painted Shazam. I painted Wolverine. I tried a few different things. It got a little bit thin, and yeah, it's a journey.
I like it, and I feel like there's places it could improve.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Crash Opossum has a super chat for $5. And I can't paint. I'm only a critique.
You know what though?
Critique? I'm a critique.
I want to say
Critique.
that the fact is that
You if a picture's working, I just take in the whole picture.
Right. If it's not working, you start going.
If it's not working, then something what is not working jumps out at me.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same with the script, right? Like with the script, if you're reading script and dialogue and you're just reading it, you're into it. If something's not working, it jumps out at you. Okay, right? So, all right. Crash the Possum has a super chat for $5. Crash says, "Hooray! Today, we finally get the David Finch mustache technique."
There you go. Very excited.
Very exciting. Poor One Mighty R says, "I can't super chat this week. I had bills, but I will next week."
Wow.
Don't you worry, One Mighty. You've been here every week since the beginning.
We're just glad.
We're just happy to have everybody here. All right. Hold on. Screen blipped. Hate it when that happens. I just really dislike it when I go to scroll down and all of a sudden it jumps like five
Yeah.
whatevers.
I will say this too, by the way. Sorry, Mark, but
Just to talk over top of me again.
yes, as far as
Pretend that I'm not
super
here
chats,
and ignore
I
me.
really appreciate the super chats a lot because it pays for Yuri, my editor. So I do really appreciate it. It makes a big difference around here. At the same time, though, I mean, really, we're glad to have you guys here.
Well, look, if there weren't super chats, why would I be down here?
Oh,
I wouldn't be down here reading chats. But here's what I like that.
It's funny anyway.
I'd be down here. But the fact of the matter is, I appreciate the super chats because they they jump out at me. There's a lot of chat going on every week, so it does help me to focus in. Because clearly I'm a bit of an ADHD. Did I tell you? No, I'm just gonna stop now. Daniel Castelli has a super chat for $4.99 because I have exciting news. Daniel Castelli says he just did another book cover for Neil Gaiman, which put him as a working professional for 70 years, and he has an art book you gotta check out.
I've got a really big art book from him. If
Thank
it's the
you
same
for the
one,
super chat.
a little bit. Yeah, and thank you very much. And thanks for letting me know. By the way, you guys are saying that Barry Woods is with us now, and so I was taking a look at that and gazing. So I'm going to get a copy of that for sure.
All right, Kahi Marsh has a super chat for $20. Kahi wants to know who is the hardest character you've ever drawn. Thank you for the super chat, Kahi.
The hardest character I've ever drawn is always going to be Galactus. Always Galactus. He's such a hard character. Except, I actually, you know what? It's again talk about serendipitous timing. I have a cover. I just got the description for the cover and some reference image. I got a reference image like this is the villain for the that we want you to draw. And I can't describe it because I can't give away anything about the story. But it is by far not close. I don't know how somebody could possibly use their imagination to come up with a more complex to draw character. Bananas. So yeah,
All right.
it's gonna be a long week around here. I mean, it's gonna be fun, but yeah, it'll take a little time.
Nancy Boyer says Kahi Marsh, I'm gonna guess Iron Man. That was my guess too.
I like
Actually,
that.
and MODOK.
Oh yeah, but it was,
But no, I know you hate when people ask for Galactus sketches.
yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah, there are times I'll go to a convention and have a convention all day, and I'm tired, and I'll end up just to keep up. I'll do some sketches at night, and I can get a good 3 sketches or so finished. And yeah, I end up going to bed late, but you know what? I get as much out of the show as I possibly can because people are there actually waiting, and if I don't get it finished, we end up mailing it to them, and that's it's not the end of the world, but you really want to wait for something to get mailed when you're right there at the show. I try and get it finished. Galactus sketches, yeah, that's a one sketch that night.
all right. Tari Owe, super chatted again. Tari, thank you so much for $4.99. Tari says, "What's up, David and Meredith? How's your day going? Invincible is a great show. Happy Mother's Day to Meredith. And Owe, I'm saying it right now, is pronounced like one word. Owe, not Oe. Tari Owe. Thank you so much, Tari. I feel like Tari's told me how to pronounce his name before.
Probably has.
He has, I know he has, and so I apologize, Tari. I'm blaming it on. You know, when you're pregnant, you have like mom brain.
Oh wow.
I'm blaming this on farm brain. There's so much going on right now.
Yeah.
That I don't have, like, I can't keep anything straight. I'm lucky that I can call my kids by their names at this point.
I think we would all agree it's a very bad.
The farm. We have 2 horses here now.
Yes.
That's new since last week.
Actually,
Okay.
My favorite
Last
Dipper
bit.
is here. Dippy Dip. King.
Dipper, who was named after a character in by our he was 9
10. Number 10. Dippy. Sweet Dippy. Oh my gosh, it's been so much fun this week though. Watching the horses play. Watching the little mini horse rear up on his hind legs to try to interact with the pony. And everybody's like, Dipper's really big. I'm like, Dipper's not even the biggest horse I have. Dipper is a pony. He's not even a horse. Just wait till I bring video.
You need to sound thing.
Nene. Hey yo. Go away. Nene. I'm just gonna say something else, but I don't know if that's copyrighted. Adrian.
So there's.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, no, Adrian.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Okay. So, what was that?
Why are your lights killing my eyes?
Because every week.
Did you adjust them?
Every week you find something new.
Oh, I don't find something new. They're really like, I close my eyes and all I can see is yellow. Like, I'm having a hard time reading.
So right now I'm getting reference for Omni-Man.
All right. While you do that, I'm going to read the next super chat from Johnny Fitz for $2. Johnny says, "Happy belated Mother's Day, Miss Meredith." Thank you so much, Johnny. Hope everybody was good with their mom. Your mom texted me today, Dave, and she said, "Meredith, thank you so much for the chocolates and the flowers. You got my favorite chocolates. They're already a box. You got 2 boxes. I only have half of a box left or something like that." And I'm like, she's like, "You know me so well." And I had to text your mom back and go, "It was your son. I gotta give credit where credit is due. You actually did it. You rocked your mom's Mother's Day gift."
I actually don't. Yours was a lot. Hers actually worked out because they had it.
What kind of chocolate did you get her?
I got her Lint,
Oh, she loves Lindt.
and I know you don't, so I didn't.
Lindt should be burned. As far as no, why? Why do I want some crap in the middle of my chocolate?
All right. Anyway. So yeah, I had to go to a couple places. I took a picture of the last because I went to the supermarket. No Mother's Day cards. Nothing. The entire section was just blank.
But you can't get a Mother's Day card on Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah, I know that now. And so then I went to Shoppers Drug Mart, this Canadian drugstore, and yeah, again. So I actually took a picture of that to show you, like, hey, look, I tried.
I don't need a card. Did you get a card? Try to get a card for me?
Yeah.
I don't need a card. I never want a card.
Okay, well, I put a lot of work into that, so.
Well, thank you. But I want you to know I never need a card. Cards are a waste. I never get people cards. I never need a card. Cards are a waste. Some people really love cards. I'm not that person. I would rather you say, "Thank you for making me coffee this morning, Meredith." Or,
I would say thank you.
"Thank you for," since I do it every morning. Or, "Thank you for cleaning my office for me, Meredith." Instead of saying, "Somebody rearranged my stuff." I only put it up on off the floor.
I don't have.
Oh, patches. You're in trouble. Oh my gosh, I have the funniest patches story ever. Are you ready for it? And then I'll read super chats. So last night I'm lying in bed, and all of a sudden Patches comes running into the room. She is making the most bizarre noise. Like, I can't even describe the noise she's making. No, I can't. But, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And she's acting strangely, like the time when she caught the mouse. I'm like, oh crap. So I get out of bed, I turn on the light, and she's like, her head under the bed, but her tail is out of the bed, and she's making this noise. I'm like, what? Is there a I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the last thing I want to do today. At 10 o'clock at night, is the cat is chased a mouse under our bed.
We have not had a mouse here for months.
So here we go. So I get down to see what on earth it is. She's got a tiny, like, I don't know, a 2-inch piece of hot dog.
She got it from Isaac's room for that.
No, not from my sister. It was on the counter.
Oh, okay.
She jumped on the counter. Got obviously missed that plate when you were cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah.
Took the hot dog off the plate and was so freaking delighted with the fact that she made a kill. She had found fresh, and I use that word loosely, meat, and she was going to eat something. So I just left her be. I'm like, she is so freaking happy. It was hilarious. That's my Patches story for the day.
Wow.
So I guess the moral of the story is, let your cat find a piece of hot dog, because they will be thrilled.
I thought the moral of the story is have your wife find your
Have your
ice
husband
cream when you get a cat story.
have your husband actually clean the kitchen. That might be the moral of the story. All right. Next super chat. I'm so behind on super chats now. So.
Cat story. I don't know why I turned this back up. I need to.
All right. Next super chat comes from Michael Klein, 1x1 for $4.99. Michael says, "When's the next episode of Process?" Good question, Michael.
Actually,
And who's on? Gotta love it. Absolutely love it. Gotta make some social media clips of all these shows and streams. Where is the next episode of Process?
I gave them to Yuri a little bit ago. He actually emailed me. This is a week ago. I'm so terrible with this stuff. And he said, hey, he needed some information. I didn't get back to him. And I just got a little overwhelmed. Yuri has it. He's on the ball. It's my fault. Right now.
So who's left?
We have
Danny Dio,
We have 3 more. We have Dan Dio. We have
Andy Schmidt,
and we have
Matt Addison.
Matt Addison.
Yeah.
So, those are the ones. And we'll have some more stuff coming up with Jay Fabok. I haven't confirmed that he's expressed interest in doing something. I would really like to do something.
What?
Jay Fabok.
What?
He's expressed interest in doing something. And so what I'd like to do is do maybe like a live stream. Have him over here. I can't right now. We can't. We're all in lockdown. But as soon as we're out, I'd like to do something where maybe he could kind of run us through some of his digital processing. So anyway, I'm gonna run that by him and see what he has to say. But yeah, he's got the greatest stories. Very entertaining. I've got another artist friend here also, Johnny Desjardins, who you can find him on Instagram. He's done stuff for Dynamite and Doomed and like a bunch of whatever, a lot of people, DC, and at some point I'd like to get him here too. He's doing oil painting right now, which is very, very cool. So I think that'd be really interesting.
So I feel like I have to walk something back here. Because I do mean that I like the super chats for the money. That's really
exactly how that sounded.
I know that apparently that is how it sounded.
Apparently.
But that's not what I meant. It just makes it really easy to scroll down because the super chats are like these bright colored highlighted things. So it makes it easy to like find a comment. Do you know what I mean? To keep the conversation going. I feel really badly because nobody believe me. It's fine. You don't have to believe me. I've never lied to you people. I'm always honest. The fact of the matter is,
You know it's not bad when you start having to say, I never lied to you.
I've never lied! But I really genuinely wasn't thinking, like, I can pass it on money. Money.
Well, strictly speaking,
That
I
really
do
was.
like pages for money. This is
Sure, but
not that, but
But that
I
isn't
do
what I
want it to
was.
be self-sustaining. And
But
it's nice for that.
I know, but it really isn't what I was thinking. I was just thinking I like them because I can scroll down and like immediately know what my next comment
Yeah, I
is.
wasn't quite sure what to say. I said, thank you so much. And then you say that, and I go, oh, okay, I guess that's how we're going.
It's that kind of day today. It's a Monday.
You know the amount of fights that we have because she says stuff like that?
I just say stupid stuff. Sometimes it comes out. We can talk about my corn cart later. Other Minds has a super chat for $15.64. Other Mind says, howdy Dave and Meredith. Meredith, what you just said hits close to home. That I'm in it for the money. I'm not. I'm really not. Okay, just kidding. Other mine says, I will scratch up a doodle every now and then. Nothing hits harder than when my wife says, it's good, but it's not your best.
Yep. And you know, they're right when they say that because this is how families look at work. And those are
Man, this is just like what Bill Burr and
what matters. You know, it doesn't
Burt
matter
Kreischer were
what
just
the
talking
title
about on the
is,
last
it doesn't
one,
matter
having their wives on set to let them know if their work is good or not.
You don't care about you and just care about getting a product that they like. And when they look at it and they're not really into it, well, yeah, it's such a difficult thing. I know I have seen it now, the whole controversy over redrawing. And, you know, my only stance with that really, because I mean, I don't want to get, there's this whole political thing, whatever. I just know I went through the 90s when, I was an image artist and we were selling really well, things were going really well, everybody seemed to really like what we were doing. And then in the 2000s, I went to Marvel and there was a real backlash against image. And pretty much the whole time I was at Marvel and a lot of the time I was at DC, I don't really feel like I get that quite so much anymore, but I definitely got a lot of people that really hated my art and vocally said it all the time. And it was really hard for me for a little bit to kind of reconcile that because you want people to like what you do, you know? And I finally realized that, I need to be true to what I want and what I love about doing it and accept that people, like, I can't just say, oh, those people are wrong. Because they're not wrong. They like what they like and they have every right to do that. They have every right to criticize it in any way that they want. And I had to really be able to let that go and stop being offended by it because this is the life that I chose, right? So, I feel like if somebody wants to do a draw over, it can be offensive to the artist. Yeah, no, it hurts. It's not fun to have that. But I don't think that they don't have the right to do it, you know? So, that said, I thought it was very, very cool and very entertaining.
All right.
I think that if you're going to criticize, you should be willing and able to take criticism back.
Dan Genovese has a super chat for $5, and Dan says, "Here you go, Yuri." Get that? Super chatting for $5 for Yuri.
Oh. Thank you, Dan. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dan. Absolutely. Actually, I don't know if you guys really noticed. I'm sure you did. The last video, it was negative space. Yuri didn't edit that one. I actually did that myself. Yuri has had school. He's been so busy that I've been trying to not overwhelm him. And that one, I was late with it. I thought, you know what? I'll do it myself. It won't have, it had no intro. It didn't have no camera movement. It had no music. Like, it was very bare bones, but at least it got out there. So, but the next one would be all Yuri. It makes such a huge difference. And I mean, I said this to Yuri. I don't know if I said this on here, but you guys don't see this from when you see the amount of views a video gets. But what you don't see unless you're the creator is watch time. And when Yuri edits a video, my watch time is substantially longer. Like and it was much shorter actually for this week's video. Like it really, right away, you can see the difference. It was a gold mine.
All right. Next super chat comes from.
All right, man. Another page down towards fighter pilots. Do I know everything? Nope. But do I know enough to get some concept art of this next character that I want to start working on? Yes. Oh, did I forget a spot here? Holy shit. You know what? Screw that. I gotta fill this in. How dare I?
KW for $20. Sergeant says, "You are amazing," with a little emoji.
Thank you so much. Very
The
generous,
dancing
Sergeant.
emoji.
Thank you. Also,
Dance.
dance emoji.
Dance emoji. All right. Super chat from Brian Merritt for $5. Brian says, "I'm struggling with anatomy right now, and there's so many resources on how to draw anatomy that it's overwhelming. What do you recommend, David?"
I recommend
Andrew
a couple of
Loomis.
things are my favorite. muscle placement exactly. Like it's more of it's a bit of a stylistic thing, and I think it's a really great resource just for getting more angular art that has more of a nice, you know, flow to it. It's something that really worked for me, so I always recommend it. So George Bridgman's guide to like drawing. I really recommend. Now I want to say Andrew Lewis, and I really do recommend Andrew Lewis. Again, though, he doesn't really go into the anatomy, like all the muscles, but what he does do is have a really great figure breakdown. You know, just simple shapes and how to move that in space.
All right, let's get this last
That's really good stuff.
last bit going.
Did Roots and Babes for Wizard magazine years ago. A few issues of Wizard, and that stuff was like gold, and that was huge for me when I was learning. And so much of my anatomy is kind of based on what he did and some of that stuff. So I would just look up Roots and Babes, Bart Sears, and he also has a new art book actually that I think he's got 2 versions actually. So he's got a couple, and I would definitely recommend those. Those are really very very good resources. And then, you know, from there, once you kind of have a sense of where all the muscles go, and you know, you basically know you've got your bicep here, you got a connection there, that kind of connects down into here. You know, you kind of know where the muscles go. Then it's a matter of looking at other comic artists that do it well. Like Ryan Otley, who does Invincible, his shoulder and back construction. By the way, when I said I've kind of been learning that, well, a lot of that's from that. He does it so incredibly well. You can take that, you know, and that's really how you really develop your anatomical understanding is take advantage of the great work of artists that do it well and learn from it. This is where it really falls apart in the sketch. So I have a skate kind of coming out like this, and without reference, it's good.
Next super chat comes from Johnny Fitz for $2. Johnny says, "Awesome, hello, Mr. Dave. Awesome artwork as always."
Thank you so much, Johnny. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here again.
And a super chat from Wayne Blackman for $20. Wayne says, "Good evening, Finches. Love your channel as always. Hi, David. Do you think mechanical pencils are suitable for drawing? I love that you don't have to sharpen them, but I struggle to achieve an organic look. Thanks, guys." Thank you, Wayne, for the super chat.
Yes, thank you. I don't use mechanical pencils just because I press too hard and they break too easily. So that's my reason. I would prefer mechanical pencil over a pencil I have to sharpen though. You know, like a wood pencil. Now I do have to sharpen my pencil, but yeah, I think mechanical pencils work really well, and there are a lot of artists that use them really effectively. You can't get a thicker one. So there's that. And something I really like to do with my pencil is I can, when I'm drawing, it naturally gets, I don't want to, stuff I have to erase here. Hold on. So when I'm drawing, I get a decently thin line. If I keep going though, it's just going to get thicker as my lead gets flattened out in that spot. And if I don't turn my pencil, it actually makes it easier for me to go heavier with my rendering. If I want to go lighter again, I just kind of twist the pencil, and look at that. Like, you know, the same pressure, I'm getting a thinner line, and I can just keep twisting, and I don't have to sharpen a million times. So just twisting your pencil strategically is really good for not having to sharpen over and over and over again. The other thing is that I can just put it on the side like this, and I can fill in a nice big area of shadow very, very quickly, which is nicer than, let's see, this takes quite a bit longer. And those are things that are difficult to do with mechanical pencils, I think. Try to put a cap on my pencil.
All right. Justin Jones has a super chat for $5. Justin says, "Hey, Dave and Meredith. Invincible is looking awesome. Dave, incredible work. And happy belated Mother's Day to Meredith." Thank you so much, Justin.
Yeah, thank you all the way around. I really appreciate it. Very nice of you.
Alme has a super chat for $5. Alme says, "Suggestion. Give Invincible a broken eye goggle.
Oh, okay.
They
Okay.
always get damaged in a big fight."
Yeah, because of this. All right, I'll do it. Do that right now. Actually, I'm gonna erase it. I'll do it right now before I forget, because I will. so obsessed with painting, but it's not good. I'm trying to limit it to once a week. So we're painting on Saturdays, and I think we're gonna do another 2 painting sessions anyway, and then we'll do another live stream, and so you guys kind of not only see where how we've kind of developed, but also just in terms of technique. I find the more I do something, things get a little streamlined. So yeah, we'll try another one, and I had so much fun with that, and I was a little, nah, I wasn't worried. I figured if nobody watches, it's fine. It's not like it's the end of the world. But I was pretty amazed and gratified that it seemed to, go over. I just wish I knew what I was doing more, but in some ways, it's kind of the fun, You get to make all the same mistakes with us, and also something great with the live stream. We had Gerald Lang was in the chat, and he kept adding suggestions. Like at one point, he said for my facial color to add a little bit of blue to the skin tone, and like it just worked. All right.
Well, that's because Jared's a great painter.
Yes.
All right. Next super chat comes from Christopher Espinal for $5. Christopher wants to know: have you ever thought of doing a Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond piece? Seems like something you would do for fun. You would have fun doing.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, that is a great idea. And look, I love doing Batman, but I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, I can only do so many Batman drawings on here. I think people would already drift away pretty quick if I do Batman. So, but yeah, I need to put that one high on the list. And how is it that ever got suggested?
I don't know. Do you know what I do know?
What is it?
It's not the book of the week till I get to sing the song.
Great to have you here. Thanks for coming.
All right, almost done. La di da 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 da.
Okay.
It's not done till I push the envelope.
So we don't swear on this show, but wow, you make it tough sometimes. All right. So this is our sound like I said. All right.
You number one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I muted myself.
Okay. I have a few of these. I kind of went through these before the stream started because I want to make sure that I'm not going to show anything that will get me in trouble. And unfortunately, some of the other ones have a decent amount of music. But I've been looking at a lot of this stuff lately. It's absolutely incredible line work. This is all mostly done with the same kind of pens that I use, Micron. Now, I don't want to say that it's a Micron. It could be a different brand. I don't know, but it's the same thing. But what he gets out of it is really, really, truly amazing. We're gonna skip past some stuff. But what I really wanted to show this for is here's an example. He's got inks and he's got pencils, and it's really always interesting for me to see just how much he's putting in his pencils and what he puts in with ink. And I tend to be looser with my pencils for sure, but it's really I find it very, very interesting just to look at something like this where he put all the black in with ink and like this whole background. But what I really wanted to show you guys, this is what I really love about this book. And the other ones I have the same thing. He'll show a cover, and so this is his Incredible Hulk cover. It's got Ibsen, whatever. Anyway, and it's a very, very cool cover. This is like a take on the Jim Steranko Hulk from years ago. And here he's got layouts. So this is the layout that he ultimately went with. And these are other layouts that he's turning into editorial and presenting as options. And his layouts are so absolutely incredible. I love how he defines his anatomy. It's very, very simple, but it's all really there. His figure breakdowns are absolutely top notch. It's incredible. And I think you get so much out of seeing just the simple shape breakdowns that he uses for these legs here, these figures here, and there's a whole bunch of this stuff in here. This is an Avengers cover, and
Man, I could draw shit like this all fucking day.
this would be the layout that
I love this jacket.
other layouts.
Discovering something like this is like, ooh, that's like another lane I could jump down.
Last thing to do, the amount of work that
But alas, this is the last one.
cover, and you see why his work is so incredible. I mean, you know, one of the reasons why. But yeah, this figure here, it's so far away that you can barely see it. I apologize, I could zoom in, but there's so much on the page. And it just, yeah, they're beautifully drawn, and I just think these are such a valuable resource. If you're wanting to learn how to draw figures and get more dynamic, using these as reference and drawing some of these figures, I don't think you could really do much better. I mean, his hands even, and they're so simple. And that's something that's really important is when you're trying to learn how to draw, and you're trying to draw from this, it's much more difficult because you get lost with all of the great detail and everything that's going on in there. But when you see it drawn in just really simple terms, it's very easy to understand just his simple volumes and mass. So yeah, another Spider-Man cover, and again, all of the layouts, beautiful figures. It's just, yeah, and his layouts are great. My favorite thing truly is, though, just the way he breaks down his figures, just his anatomy, very simplified, actually. And, you know, we're talking about iron in this.
All right, man. Got a last one in, and what a hell of a one it was because I love this, man. One of my favorite things about fighter pilots and all that stuff are the big furry, fluffy jackets, you know, and all the really the jackets, man. If you ever seen like a really good sports jacket, it's like those but better. It's like what I was saying in the beginning of the video of like, you know, the military grade stuff is always pretty much top notch. The only other thing that would put it above and beyond is if something is tailored to an individual. So if you have a military man who tailors his outfits, then, you know, you're basically looking at the best of things. And yeah, man, I always loved those big puffy jackets with the fur coats and all that stuff. So yeah, to end one off on like this giant leather jacket was that's a treat, man. I love that. So kind of upset that I don't have more of those, but that's something I get to look forward to when I'm working on the actual concept art for this character. So I may do that. I may jump onto something else for the next stream, but that's going to be it for this one, man. So I started off with half of this page already done, and now this is just the last bit. So we'll start off at the top. Some of these were drawn yesterday, and now the rest of these were just drawn during this stream. So, you know, this is all just like really quick, rough pencil sketches of me just trying to understand stuff, and see how it all goes down. So now I kind of have a fresh idea in my mind of like, okay, what are all the things that I want to address and tackle when I'm starting to do the concept artwork for this character, you know, because I already have the design down and all this other stuff. So it's like, you know, do I even need to do it? But I kind of want to. This character in particular, because it is one of the most important characters. I put a lot of thought into him, and it's amazing how much he's not the main character, but fuels a lot of story. So this is one of the more important characters, most important characters that I'm working on first. So it's just interesting that it's the guy that has so many transformative moments throughout the entire story. And yeah, man, I'm going to have fun with this one. I'll probably spend a little bit of time just, you know, to kind of address whatever I need to address. But maybe not, man. Maybe I've done already a lot of the heavy lifting for myself, and I'll move on from this later on, and then I won't really address them until I get to the actual character design when I actually write, you know, script out the story and start working on the actual comic, which we all know is going to be a long time from now since I'm all doing concept stuff. But yeah, that's the whole point. So maybe it might just be more roughs. We'll see. Either way, I'm G Mr. Drew. That's at G Mr. Drew on all socials. You can follow, like, and subscribe. Links are in my bio as well as my website. gmrdrew.art. You could contact me through there. You could email me. You could DM me, whatever it is. And shout out to Nardachi, man. Thanks for stopping by. I know you were just hanging out because you were waiting for something. I forgot to ask what you were waiting for, man. That's my bad. It kind of struck me a little bit later, and I was like, oh, she probably already like moved on and is gone. But either way, I hope you get to where you're going. And it sounds like you're feeling better. So since it's been a while since we talked, I remember last time you said you had a headache or something, you weren't feeling well. So if you're going places, I gotta imagine you're feeling well, even if it's you're going to the doctor. That's a good thing. Either way, shout out to you. Everybody else, thanks for watching. And yeah, man, I love y'all. I'll be back. Peace.